Only a guilty man flees Peter, boy.
Get away from me!
As you wish, but you will never escape your fate.
I know there's a connection. Don't think I won't find it.
Maybe you're not looking in the right direction.
So, you believe in me at last.
Wildcat says you're a nut job.
Funny, he says the same thing about you.
He's right.
Okay, bored now. Goodbye.
It matters little. The Presence is pleased that you have come to experience empathy.
Go away. Don't touch that.
Wow. I had no idea that the Girl Scouts were responsible for the crop circle phenomenon.
Few people do. Few even think to ask the question.
This caring has cost me much. Why must I suffer it?
Thought Crimez. Thought Crimez. Thought Crimez. Thought Crimez. Thought Crimez. Thought Crimez.
nigga culture, or the repercussions while busting on backstabbing vultures.
What good has my power done? All reality is being ripped to pieces.
To whom much is given, much will be required.
Warning. Warning. The Federal Communications Commission has determined the following content to be emotionally harmful. Snowflakes should not view this content under any circumstances, even if supervised by a G.I. Joe, Navy SEALs, Army vet, or someone with good common sense. The views and opinions expressed, including the depictions of persons of color, corrupt politicians, white people with or without a tan, haters who have yet to brush their teeth typing angrily in the comment section with hot breath syndrome, do not reflect any official policy or position of the U.S. government. This program contains graphic language, dark comedy, unique intelligence, creativity, a high credit score, and high blood pressure when triggered. This program has also been accused of racism, violence, misogyny, mansogyny, feminism, Taoism, defacement of celebrities, and of course, being a bully. Welcome to Thought Crimez.
Good morning, everyone. That's right. Turn my mic up. Prince. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Thought Crimez. This is your girl, Sincere, and I'm here with...
So you're not going to throw the black man under the bus as if I was oppressing the black woman. Your mic was up. All right, her headsets weren't on. Now it's they're on, but everything's normal here, folks. Yes, this is your man, P. Solar. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. I just want to let y'all know that we have some petitions that people have created that if y'all want to support, is up to y'all. There's one on FBA. There's one, of course, on medical racism as well, and the Turner situation with a couple of black bodies that was examined by her. Some people say her medical license need to be revoked. That is on the Patreon publicly. It's publicly for people to click on the link and sign the petitions as well. And, of course, we're going to go in later as well on a couple more things that I want everybody to pay attention to see if they would like to support as well. And also, the other thing is I have to look it up real quick because I want to make sure I get it accurate, the information with the donation for Rommel GoFundMe. I just want to say that kid is a very strong kid, and everyone, if you get a chance, you could definitely donate. Mac Wop said that he will be brought out in L.A. as well.
Hey, that's good.
That's good.
That's
Yep.
good for a little kid. All right, man. And seems went through a lot, so it's good that he's able to get some attention here.
Went through a
Him
lot.
And his family.
And persevered through a lot. So absolutely.
Right.
And also, we will have our own breakdown of what G Malone is saying about the game being jealous of Kendrick Lamar. And then also our thoughts on Dirt's video on Rock Nation's law firm. All those things with Larry Jackson, all that stuff. We'll give everybody our thought process on the Patreon.
Is the industry after every nigga last name Jackson? All right? So, again, we're definitely going to be breaking some more of that down. And the reason why we'd like to go in further on our Patreon, folks, YouTube ain't going to be in the way with copyrighted material. Sometimes it gets a bit like a digital Karen, too, by the way. So we want to be able to do that freely. Absolutely. Now, again, not too much deviated from that main subject here. Change your heart. Drizzy calls out Jigga. And then the game versus Kendrick Lamar might be. I want to say something real quick, Sam, before we get going.
Sure.
In the name of Jesus.
All right, absolutely.
In the name of Jesus.
We're going to have phone calls on this one, too.
We got to mega church this one up, all right? Now, we're going to mega church. Now, I'm going to say something right now to the foreheads that be popping up in the think tank. Not all of you all. But every time I covered it or Sin or we both covered the game and Kendrick, all I kept seeing in the comment section, who cares? Why y'all talking about the game? One nigga told me don't nobody talk about the game in LA but except Thought Crimez. Y'all the only platform that do it. I was like, all right. But his big face is everywhere. Okay? So just want to put that out there, folks. It looks like there's definitely going to be some things going to continue to cook off in that regard. Sam, where we going with today? Come on, Sam, where we at?
I mean, you was talking, Black man. Were you trying to rush me? Talking about, come on, where we at?
All right. I had to poke at the black woman. I had to poke at her a little bit to make sure we up and running. But we talked about this though. Just to say this real quick, and I will continue. Sam.
What the fuck? You gonna tell me to fucking talk?
Well, you said you
proceed to fucking talk over me.
You said like what you rushing me for? So I was like, all right, well, I'll keep talking. No, I'll keep talking.
I got it right now.
I'll keep talking, but I just want to put that out there. That a lot of people say, why y'all keep talking about the game? When niggas tell me, don't nobody, I go all up and down LA. Don't nobody talk about this nigga, but y'all.
Even though industry people may not be happy with us, probably on either side, 99% of everything we predicted was correct. Yeah. We were the first platform with no industry ties. We're not tied to TDE or PG Lane or OVO or Rock Nation. With no industry ties.
Not tied to Trump.
Not
tied to Biden.
With no industry ties, we said the game was going to come after Rick Ross. First. He did. We said the game and Kendrick have issues.
They do.
People in the industry have mixed views on that, but they said there is some spark there.
There's something there.
And we said the game would more than likely come back outside to diss Kendrick Lamar. And also Night Night said on the mixtapes of the game, the blue and red, that he was signaling both the ties of the red and the blue, and that he was dissing Kendrick on that mixtape. It was confirmed. He did on whatever.
Yeah.
He said if Kendrick thinks he's the king of Compton or the West, step up and prove it. So he called Kendrick by name. So
putting guns in wordy niggas' mouths.
Right. All of that. We were also correct, even though people got mad at us on this, that Jay-Z and Drake were having corporate wars with each other.
That was since 2017. Now, that was a little bit further than 2024. We've been calling that one since 2017-18.
Called that one, since in hip-hop media.
Yeah.
We called that back then in the day since 2016, and also salute to DJ L. So most of the stuff that we've been talking about on here has been with accuracy, but yet and still, I want to know, No Meek Mill, why so many hip-hop media platforms keep disrespecting this platform, and even certain people keep doubting things that we say, even though most of the time it ends up becoming true. But it's okay, because like I said, Prince and I don't need validations from external sources. People are pretty much eating up and gobbling up a lot of the things we've already talked about. Actually, the things that we presented to the public before any and everybody else. But I digress. Let's focus right now, Prince, right now on Change of Heart. Drizzy calls out Rock Nation with subpoenas. And then you also have the game and Kendrick situation brewing up again.
Yeah. No, we get what we do what we get. We just keep pushing. Look, you got to have your confidence moving forward. And sometimes, shawty, you just ahead of the curve. All right? So, I don't expect the credit just like the white man don't credit them. All right, shouts out to 504 Scoob. Man, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? He says, in all honesty, I don't see Kendrick even worrying about battling game. He probably viewed that as as causing confusion on the West. You know what? Since I guess we can kind of switch the order since, Scoob in the building, he dropped the donation in the chat. Shouts out to him, too, by the way. We appreciate you so much, brother. Here's the thing about Game, okay? Game's visibility, number one, he's had a very huge career. He's had an international career, actually, because people forget G-Unit was an international group. And then Game was able to have this whole situation move on forward where he was able to battle and effectively, at least on a cultural visible level, pretty much handicap 50 Cent's career like Bo Jackson. And y'all got to understand, at that time, people said, what? The columns fell on Samson. What happened? What? The West did what? And that was a big thing. And in fact, I would even argue, I'll push the line forward on this one. This gave Game a more marketable edge at that time to younger listeners, because they liked all of his antics. They liked the idea that he was tied to the red rag. They liked that he overtly appeared to be gangster to the general public. And let's be real, everybody likes it when a champ gets dethroned or a barbarian gets dethroned. It's fascinating.
And to pause it, but not to confuse people, on the Patreon, we also talked about the track We Up from 50 Cent and Kendrick Lamar that dropped on March 22nd of 2013.
Good call,
where it seemed as if the Game and 50 Cent still had issues with each other, because after the Game asked, he said there's going to be a reunion for G-Unit, and then 50 Cent said the fuck it is. He said, you don't call the shots. And then
he said that was the problem in the first place, nigga. There's only one G-Unit. There's only one general in G-Unit.
And then that's when the Game got upset and he dissed 50 Cent in 2013 on the track Hollywood featuring Scarface. So
I remember that track. That was on that OK mixtape, right?
Yeah, so y'all can check it out on the Patreon. I did a whole breakdown of that.
You guys talking to
back and forth between 50 Cent and the Game in 2013. It's all on the Patreon for people to check out.
You guys got to understand, we are hip-hop historians. All right, so with that being the case, yes, and Sin, you guys should check out her post. She did a breakdown of what was going on. Game and 50 situation was literally off and on for a very long time. And Game, because of the dynamics of Cali, it's kind of like the South, all right? You can still make noise as an independent artist. Even if you get dropped from the major, you can always hit the streets and start slinging out the trunk. That is the benefit of the American black nation, that you usually see different artists in different parts of the United States. Everybody got swap meet action everywhere. It doesn't matter what they call it. Also, shouts out to OC, says Kendrick looks at Game as a casualty of war.
I wouldn't disagree with that perception, especially for the people who do believe in astrology. Looking at certain people's charts, that would be accurate. That would be accurate, sir.
With the Game, though, right now, his visibility has largely to do with many of his battles. I would argue that Game is the most battle-tested mainstream rapper we've probably ever seen. I can't recall anybody that's had that many battles publicly from a studio rapper's perspective. I'm not talking about URL battling. I'm not talking about battle rappers. I'm not talking about Smack. I'm not talking about Lion's Den. I'm talking about rappers that can make songs, rappers that can make albums. I would argue that Game is the most battle-tested mainstream rapper we've probably seen in hip-hop. So much so that, he's probably going to sit in the wheelchair still battling the nurses. All right? He can't stop battling. So with that being the case, though, I think one of the reasons why you're still seeing that he has some sort of visible effect is also his approximation to Drake. This is a different situation where he's pretty much visible. He has his own career, of course, but Game is still out here dropping material, and the internet is the internet. We told you guys a lot of times nothing really dies on the internet, and whether people have their careers, look, Ray J's had an incredible run as internet Ray J. Yeah,
what's up, ladies?
Yeah.
Also, Shy, stop it. He said we exaggerate in New York the Game, and no.
Who said this?
Shy, you have to stop with the lies.
Okay, what was Shy's statement saying?
He said that we're exaggerating the Game.
What are we exaggerating?
And GU not. First of all, a lot of people from New York City, me being from Jersey and being there frequently, they were very upset with 50 Cent. They felt 50 Cent was a sellout. He destroyed New York City radio. So when a West Coaster was stomping on him, people thought it was funny. Like, you ran to the West for help, and then now you got a West Coast dude stomping on your head.
Right.
Another thing that made it funny, because before all the ridiculous antics that the Game, did that eventually, caught up with him, a lot of people from the East Coast did like the Game's music because he had like a style where it was like a fusion of the West Coast and the East Coast. He's a big fan of New York City lyrical rappers and MCs like Nas, who was a big influence on him.
Huge Jay-Z, influence on Game.
Yeah, big. Jay-Z and so many other titans in the New York City music scene, even Jadakiss and all that. So he was a big nerd,
Montega Jada,
and fan of New York City. Again, rappers and MCs, and he was also a big fan of Dipset, which is why. You
Jim
got
Jones.
that song with him and Jim Jones. Said right. On top of him, also eventually getting into a beef and battle with Joe Budden.
Woo!
So
that was one of the longest slam poetry sessions in hip hop history. Right. Them niggas tracks, each of their tracks was 11 to 13 minutes.
So we're not exaggerating anything, especially too when
why are we doing this thing? See, I'm gonna have to step in behind you, beautiful, because I gotta correct some stuff, bro. We not gonna do this, bro. We not gonna do this.
We're talking about interscope internal fighting. Then one goes off to do his own thing on Empire, and then I mean, like, come on, y'all know the history.
Can we talk about it?
All right, I gotta talk about that. There's nothing to be exaggerated about the game's career. It is what it is. And yes, the game did mess up the G-Unit motion. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Like, y'all know this is YouTube, not Twitter, right? I hope y'all know that, right?
Yeah, please.
This is YouTube. Like B-More says, YouTube. This is not Twitter, shouty, or X, bro.
Yeah, remember?
So I'm gonna have to break this down. I'm gonna let you say what you said, but we gotta go ahead and get back into the what Sid say? Do the knowledge, nigga. Come on, Sid. Now, let's put this in proper perspective. When people was kind of kicking Joey Badass around, and I thought it was very unfortunate because I like a lot of Joey Badass's albums, right? I think he's a very decent MC. I think he carries his own charisma. Turned out acting worked very well for the New York hustler, right? But his career is his career, and he also had to go back and forth with New York VJs and say, hey, man, why won't y'all play my records? New York VJs were way more excited to play Game's record in his heyday than Joey Badass. Game did have a very successful career. Now, all of his antics, has that contributed to how he's perceived today? Absolutely.
But many of them have antics.
But he wouldn't be the only one.
They all got
Tupac
crazy.
had antics. Diddy had antics.
Diddy still got antics.
They all got antics. All right? It just depends on which ones you like.
Some more than others, and that is true.
What antics do you like? Tupac spitting on camera. A lot of people like, yo, I like that. There were some people like, yo, man, what's wrong with him?
We're being too sanctimonious.
Yeah, let's stop it.
For a genre with a lot of crazy characters involved.
Bro,
okay?
It is. Yo, hip-hop is the Terror Dome.
A lot of these people are crazy, all right?
Let's stop it. Okay? Whether they been shot or they fell down the steps as a baby and landed on their head, something is off. Okay? So there's nothing exaggerating about the game. I think people just don't like his position in all of this. I think that is very irritating for a lot of people. For me, if you grew up, you've watched the game, Sin and I know this is what Game does. That's all he does. This is what he does. Now, information has come out that apparently, allegedly, that Kendrick and Game hadn't spoken to each other since the Obama administration.
And we can't confirm that.
We cannot confirm or deny that.
We're not in the industry, so we can't confirm people's personal relationships in that way. The only thing we could do is analyze, like we've been doing for years now, with a pretty high ratio of accuracy. And, going back to what Prince said, Stat and other people claimed that the Game and Kendrick didn't talk since the 100 video, and that there was confusion around that video because some people said the Game didn't. I think it was a Stat over there with Justin. He said that he claimed that the Game didn't even know that there was a serious issue with Drake and Kendrick, and at that time
it wasn't.
Everybody thought it was just rap.
Everybody thought it was just music.
Yeah, at that time when 100 came out, people thought, oh, okay, Drake is just sneak dissing Kendrick, but it's just cute hip hop stuff. They've been going back and forth for a little bit. Nobody thought it would be like no street violence or nothing where emotions got to be tied
Yeah.
that deeply, at least at the time. Like, in fact, even though people know that at that time that Kendrick and Drake was playing footsies, actually back then people were more.
See, don't throw him into Lindsey Graham territory.
People actually really thought that Kendrick and Big Sean was about to get popping.
Yes.
You know,
That's
before Drake and Kendrick.
See, this is why I said what I said about Game's career early on. Now, what you feel about him as a man, that's your personal opinion. But I cannot properly assess the situation if I'm up here lying. I cannot lie. The man had a big career. I mean, let's be real. He put the whole West Coast on that butterfly tat on his forehead. All right? So with that being the case, though, to Sin's point, and I can even tell you, Sin, now we can even tell you at the time when Kendrick and Drake were kind of like subbing each other, when Kendrick did the Control verse and then Future and Drake got together on the Shit remix, and
remember,
then Future
Drake went to Elliot.
Yeah,
and Wilson.
Yeah, I was about to get into that. You're right about that. No, you're right about that. And when Drake threw his bars back at Kendrick on the Shit remix, I'm telling you all, nobody thought it was anything else more than, okay, they just shooting slugs at each other. That's
right.
it.
And also, it seemed like, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, because I only saw the clips on X. It seemed like Stat said that the Game thought he didn't think the bars were serious. So yeah, I'm actually surprised that there are a lot of streamers who didn't know that on 100 Drake was sneak dissing Kendrick. I don't know how nobody in the streaming world didn't know that. That's
I would
fucking
have all your
obvious.
fans if I got on some
But
conscious shit.
at the time, still nobody thought it was serious though. Nobody thought
No.
it was serious. Like, again, during that time, people thought that Kendrick and Big Sean was going to light it up first before anybody else. Now, I'm not
she's right
saying
about
on
that.
some street shit, but
No, even with all of them, y'all gotta understand with the blog era rappers, and that would include the trappers as well. The only ones that overtly appeared to have more of a street edge, I could argue Future because of the shit that was going on in his backyard with Rocco. YG because he came outside with all the red on. But as far as the other guys like Drake, Kendrick, Cole, Sean, Wale, nobody. Even Wale and Kid Cudi were having issues with each other. Nobody thought it was serious.
a lot of them at the time.
A lot of them actually got into it with each other.
You know, a lot of
we are just so brand new today.
During the blog era, a lot of people got into it lyrically. There was a lot of people subbing each other. You know, Big Sean, acted like he didn't care about the Control verse. Then he started subbing, and it was like.
And then out of nowhere, Lupe and Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
And people's like, what's that about?
Yeah, there was a lot of people getting into it. Actually, it was a funny time, because of a lot of people's PR and marketing companies that they were attached to at the time, and also
big homies
because of the OGs.
Yes.
And a lot of people was making money at that time, so everybody was gaslit. So, even back then during the blog era, if somebody accurately said, "Oh, these guys, they're like dissing each other," and people would be like, nah, because the celebrities would come on radio stations and they'd be like, well, nah, nothing is going on, because, the money was good at that time, marketing, people's PR, campaigns and all that. Like you said, people's big homies and all that.
Yeah, a lot of people were making phone calls.
At the time, a lot of stuff kept getting pushed back down. Yeah.
Even because 100 came out when? What was it, 2015?
Yeah, 2015.
And what is it? Was that Yugas? All right, I'll just tell you this. Yeah, again, like I'm telling you, we was there. We watched all of it. Everybody, they knew that Kendrick and Drake didn't really get along. But I will say this with Nephew. I got the tape. I will say this with Whack 100. To be balanced here in his assessment, every battle, or with the exception of Joe Budden, I could argue, and I would say Memphis Bleak, because the whole Memphis Bleak and Jay-Z, they're not going to actually be in a situation for the Pyro niggas to run down on them, right? But all of Game's quote-unquote battle, beef, static, and hip-hop, it did always involve street shit. So from his perspective, he's probably just thinking, These niggas are just being competitive with raps. I can still do records with whoever.
Well, also because during that time with the game and Drake did 100, Drake was having issues with Diddy still.
Yes, yes.
Time.
People forget about that whole 100 beat.
Yeah, Diddy
0 to 100.
Diddy was still angry about 0 to 100. So there was issues with that as well.
Yeah, so, there were rumors that, now that was more of a dynamic that hasn't been discussed as much as about these things put out in the streets on people.
Well, we could talk about it. Like, there were people who were alleging that Diddy put out a hit on Drake.
They said, well, we're going to see what Keefy D going to say.
And Diddy's favorite region to go to when he has issues is the West Coast.
South side, yeah. South side, everybody do the South side, yeah.
But again, as for the game being jealous of Kendrick, and also as for other things that people who actually know both of these guys are saying, that's something that we can't confirm beyond a doubt because we don't know. We can give y'all our opinion, and we're going to go and comb through that angle even more on the Patreon, but I don't know. I just know that if everyone's bringing up, 100 again, people forget that we also dissected, the video and the song, in 2025? And because people kept telling us that there was no smoke or spark there between the game and Kendrick, and I'm like, it seemed like y'all gaslighting because Prince and I accurately predicted that the game was going to go after Rick Ross, and we have, zero ties to the industry, not a manager, not connected to the game or anything at all. And most of our coverage from the outside looking in has been pretty accurate with the game, and it seems like there's still something there. And so even right now, we even said there was something weird even about the verses, because it was like, why is the game and YG.
He said, "Oh, blood."
And people and some people was telling us, "Oh, y'all don't understand." I was like, nah, something smell off here. I just feel like, I don't know, like there's something. It feels like there's a lot of movement in the background. And then after that happened, then we see the game, get into it. He's on Flacco's, YouTube video comment section talking about he's gonna reveal stuff in the industry.
Yeah.
Then you had Top Dog calling to the third verse and all that. So I personally believe that Prince and I haven't been too far off pertaining to the game and Kendrick stuff.
Can I break this down?
And we'll see what else takes place there.
We got paperwork. Yes. Oh, so let's talk about it. Now let's talk about it. This is what's interesting because I would say 100 is probably a flashpoint arc in Drake's career. And I'll tell you why. All right, because the song is called 100. Remember, Diddy allegedly sent Drake the 0 to 100 beat. All right? Drake got so excited about the beat, was like, I'm about to slide on this shit myself. I'm about to slide on this bitch myself. This nigga can't rap anyway. I got it.
Yeah,
right?
Diddy wanted Drake to ghostwrite for him.
So, apparently, the rumor was that, Diddy was real hot about that. Like what was stated, hey, Game said, I'm hearing some shit in the street about you, Drizzy. Somebody tight about something you did. So, Game has a song called 100. Is that a play on 0 to 100 and on Game's verse? I got a vest for every owl and OVO. Niggas want to set you up, wet you up. And they said that Drake paid for everything. Wax said that was his song, so however it goes. But Drake appears, right? He goes to the neighborhood. He goes to Game's neighborhood. He does all this shit. But in the process, though, because Drake is still going to take his shots about the whole Kendrick, because they still throwing subs at each other around this time, he takes shots at Kendrick Lamar. But you got to go back to listen to Game's verse. And Game's verse could be tied to what was said that Diddy was so angry about. Because remember, Drake and Diddy, there was a big fight.
That's the only confusing part because
it was a big fight, nephew.
At that time, Kendrick and Drake didn't like each other, but it wasn't on no street level. The only person who was saying they was going to put hands on Drake on some street shit at the time was Diddy.
Mr. Diddy.
So when I hear the Game saying niggas talking about setting you up, my mind don't first come to Kendrick.
No.
Now I knew that Drake was dissing Kendrick on the whole. I would have all your friends like fans if I went on some conscious shit. This is something we already broke down a long time ago. But when Gameverse came in, I was like, well, how do it apply in 2015 to Kendrick? Because Kendrick isn't trying to do no street stuff to Drake. Unless somebody know anything that we don't know about. It doesn't seem that way. At that time, it was all about Diddy and Drake getting into it. And it was actually Boy Wonder, which is funny because Drake keeps getting in trouble with Boy Wonder. Why Boy Wonder keeps getting...
They trying to get Boy Wonder in trouble.
Boy Wonder keeps getting Drake in trouble. But the initial access was the producer Boy Wonder. He created the beat 0 to 100.
It was a fire beat.
Fire production.
I'm glad Diddy wasn't on it.
He offered it.
This was I'm Working era Diddy.
He offered it to Diddy first.
Right.
And then somehow eventually it just didn't go through, and then
Diddy was looking for them writers.
And then right. Some of people say the story allegedly is that Diddy wanted Drake to do some ghostwriting on it, but whatever took place, it
Drake
happened to
ran
be
with it.
Drake on 0 to 100, and then boom, and then that's when the Diddy started allegedly. They claimed in the industry allegedly that Diddy was trying to put hands on Drake.
Also, and remember, y'all, Diddy and Drake's quote unquote fight happened around like December 8th of 2014. The 100 video was filmed in 2015. And again, listen to the game's verse. Now, for me personally, I don't know, it's maybe because everybody has microphones, and that's cool. We need a microphone economy. China got to make them for somebody, right? But I'm just trying to figure out, like, how did we forget pertaining to this 100 video shoot? How did we forget the whole conversation with Diddy and Drake and the 0 to 100 beat? Because when I remember hearing Game's verse on 0 to 100, it was kind of understood in hip hop at the time on the then internet that Game may be referencing some issues between Drake and Diddy, because that was the only confrontation that got that physical for a notable person at that time. So if Game is rapping about niggas want to set you up, wet you up, and Game probably didn't have to pay for that verse. Let's be real about it. He may not have to have paid for that verse. I don't really think, from at least Game's perspective or how the energy was, the conversation about Kendrick didn't come up by way of Game. The only thing that came up with Kendrick Lamar in that conversation was that Drake was throwing subs at Kendrick, just like Kendrick. They were all throwing subs at each other around that time.
Back then, a lot of the blog era guys were
throwing. They were all throwing subs. It was Subway.
Subs at each other.
It was Subway.
Big
Jared
Crit, Kid Cudi.
All of them.
Kendrick, Big Sean, Drake, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And
Jared from Subway. I mean, listen, the reason why I'm bringing this up, because could that have been a possible reference even in Euphoria when Kendrick said, "You gonna make me bring Puff back"? That's how I read it. Yes. But again, I wasn't in the lab with Kendrick.
You gonna make me bring back Puff on Euphoria? That's why.
Let's see if Chubb crashed something.
Yeah, so like that's the thing that's confusing to me. Again, Prince and I don't claim to know everything, but again, we've been pretty good with our narrations from the outside, being outsiders of the industry. We've been pretty much 5 steps ahead in all of the breakdowns we did pertaining to the battle. And that is something that stood out to us. If it was only Kendrick and Drake, even for the 100 video, but then that ignores the whole Drake and Diddy situation that happened
0 to 100
around that time.
Real quick.
And people claim in the industry, which we don't have no evidence to. Again, this is not our claim. But people in the industry, like, what's the bodyguard who used to be with Diddy?
Gene.
Gene
Deal, Big Gene on deck.
And other people, they claim that Diddy put hits out on people.
That's what they said. Listen.
And what's the bald-headed guy in prison right now?
You talking about Keefe D?
Keefe D.
Didn't get that check.
He didn't get the check.
You ain't get that check.
I do feel like people keep ignoring the Diddy aspect of this because, like you said, what did Kendrick even mean when he was like, "You gonna make me bring back Puff"? See, Chubb, like you said, Chubb gonna crash something.
Let's see if Chubb really crashed something.
To me, that connects in my mind to even some type of connection to the whole 100 thing, but I don't know. Like you said with the Diddy part, is like what is Game saying he gonna vest Drake up for it.
But who? Kendrick? Like, what are we talking about? They weren't even at that level in the conversation.
In 2015, was they even at that level of being heated with each other?
No.
For anybody to have to vest up Drake against Kendrick, even though Drake was having his subliminal diss bars towards Kendrick.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm just saying this because the 100 song and video from the documentary too, which Kendrick Lamar is on the same album as well, because I remember going out to buy that album. That story arc was entailed, of course it splits with Kendrick because there were subs there, but again, like we stated, Kendrick and Drake were both throwing subs at each other for a minute. And Game's verse was entailed of some of the things that were being said about Drake and Diddy's run-in with each other behind this alleged 0 to 100 beat. Ironically, the song with Drake and Game is called 100. So I'm not sure.
I thought that was a play on 0 to 100.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But also
that's what the conversation was at the time.
Also a play on 100. I got you. But also I thought it was also Blood, Pyro, Gang Ties 100. So I thought it was like multiple subliminal meanings to the whole 100 thing. I didn't. To your point, outside of Drake giving his subliminal diss towards Kendrick, I thought everything else about the video and the song from the Game's perspective would have been more about anyone who wanted to actually put hands on Drake at that time. And I don't think Kendrick was trying to put hands on Drake during that time. They had their, unless somebody who knows these people come out and confirm like, 100%, they wanted to put hands on each other in 2015, okay. But during that time, one of the few people who actually wanted to put hands on Drake at that time, and who is someone who carries a lot of weight in the industry, would have been Diddy.
Yeah, I gotta understand. Diddy damn near allegedly put hands on all of the blog rappers, with the exception of Kendrick Lamar. All right. Also, Madman says here, hey, Thought Crimez. Game did confirm the Diddy and Drake situation on Vlad TV.
So was Game talking about when he was saying?
Yeah, he was talking about Diddy.
So he was talking about Diddy.
I remember that being the conversation in 2015. I don't know where all this extra stuff is coming from outside. If you zero in simply on Drake's verse, it's clearly addressing Kendrick Lamar. But everybody's ignoring what Game was saying in the same song, because why are the owls getting their feathers vested up? Because Kendrick, quote unquote, wasn't that hot at that time in the sense that being that angry about anything. If anything, he was just competitive on the music shit. And I've heard from interviews with Punch during that time, he said, we just thought it was just some music shit. I'm the better rapper. That was it.
No, that's what I'm saying. If we're following the timeline, because I feel like people are adding how they feel now to 2015.
Yeah.
You can't put how you feel in the present time to the past. And the past in 2015, everybody in the blog era who was going at each other, it didn't seem like it was dangerous at that time.
No.
It didn't seem like Kendrick wanted to put hands on Drake or Drake wanted to put hands on Kendrick. They were all competing about who they thought was the best in their camp and all that.
And every now and then you sprinkle in J. Cole because he'd be like, I'm the best on the West.
In 2015, one of the few people who have a temperament, allegedly, again, never met Diddy, can't confirm it ourselves.
Do-ga-da.
But in 2015, it seemed like the only person who wanted to put hands on Drake in a more serious way, not on some just hip hop competition stuff, at that time was Diddy.
Yeah, remember that was a big thing. That was a huge thing. I see in 2015 the biggest story from December of 2014 to go into 2015. The biggest story was that nobody had anything on camera, but they said Drake and Diddy were fighting. So, and it's kind of like, I don't mind exploring the whole conversation of 100, the video shoot, because clearly it seems like Kendrick might have been referencing 616 in LA, because the video shoot in itself was filmed on 6/16/15. All right. So it seemed like Kendrick was making note of that. And then it was confirmed that there seems to have been an issue between Kendrick Lamar and the Game,
And also to add to it, I think people would have to say what more is to it with the Game and Kendrick, because as it stands, the stuff that people are saying right now is not really clear. Because it doesn't seem like the game was saying I'm putting a vest on Drake because I have an issue with Kendrick. I'm putting a vest on Drake even though I'm cool with Diddy, but or whoever's trying to put hands on Drake, I'm cool with him. I got a vest for him, a vest for the other OVO people and all that. So for the angle of where the game and Kendrick splits off outside of the fact of Drake sneak this, in which, you know, broke that down a long time ago, and people who really pay attention to lyrics who have media platforms broke that down a long time ago as well about Drake subliminally dissing the game. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, which possibly could be just handled with a phone call or whatever, if you're like cool with both guys, what else is there at that time of 2015 that
it was just Diddy and Drake
that we're unaware of? I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. The only thing I could just recall, because I remember following it, I had friends that was debating me about who would be the better lyricist in the battle or what albums. Like, this was an open conversation. It's not as rigid and sectioned off as it is today. It was actually a lot more open source. So, if you like Kendrick, you like Kendrick. If you didn't, you didn't. If you like some of his work, you did. If you didn't, that was the case. Same thing with Drake. It was applied to all of them. And so with that being the case, I remember when the video for 100 came out, I remember that was coming behind the rumors that Diddy allegedly put something out in the streets on Drake.
Yes, that was the rumor back in 2015.
That was the rumor.
That even so far that Jay Prince eventually came outside where he called was Charlamagne on the Breakfast Club, and he said, if anybody put hands on my kid and my illegitimate son, then your family get touched. Yeah. So to me, the possible alleged gang violence or mafia violence allegedly at that time was like with Drake and Jay Prince and his people, and with Diddy and his people. And I think at that time the game was also cool with Birdman. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, outside of Drake and Kendrick at that time, 2015, it seemed like that was just
weird. It's almost like it
was just bars.
Yeah, it feels like a part of hip hop conversation and history has just been cut off.
Also, shout out to Dime a Dozen.
Yo, salute to Dime a Dozen.
Album is dope. We're going to be reviewing it soon. Great music, great music.
Salute, player, salute.
Salute to him, and y'all should definitely check out his music. Support independent, not only media, but also artists as well. Yeah. So shout out to Dime a Dozen.
Yeah, so only thing I'm just saying, like, look, the conversation is going to be the conversation, but I don't think people either remember exactly what was surrounding that damn 100 video shoot.
Yes, because I don't want to be...
It was a lot of shit that was surrounding that. Like, it wasn't even just about Kendrick. There was this shit about Diddy. So that's why I said it was interesting that Kendrick brings up in Euphoria, you're going to make me bring Puff back and let me see if Chubbs really crashed him. And because at the time what they're saying is that Drake's bodyguard, whoever that was, whether it was Chubbs or not, but somebody snatched Drake so hard, they said that it strained his shoulder or it dislocated his shoulder. He had a sling on.
His bodyguard.
Yeah, it was his bodyguard. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't know who it was.
When him and Diddy got into it, his bodyguard snatched him out, and they alleged that his arm got pulled out of his socket.
Right, so that's what I said.
That's how hard his bodyguard snatched him up and broke up the fight. And to your point, that's why I don't want to be hysterical because of what happened in 2024 and kind of put extra sauce on 2015, because at the time of 2015, I thought that whole 100 video was about Diddy. Drake still did a subliminal diss towards Kendrick on that song, but we thought that was his fluffy competition stuff with all
it was different than Game's verse.
With all the blog era rappers. We thought the Game verse was about the heaviness allegedly about maybe with Diddy and stuff. At least that's what we thought at that time.
Yeah, and Game has had several interviews out here. I mean, even back then that was, supposedly a thing. And I know for me, I heard some stories myself. So, I do think 2024 has skewed how we retroactively revisit events and conversations that were already happening. And again, with the 100 video, the buzz of the town was that Game was addressing an alleged situation with Diddy and Drake in the streets. And then the other side for the hip-hop heads, the rap fans, because of what was going on between Kendrick and Drake all the way up to 2015, is that Drake was taking his shots at Kendrick Lamar. So I just think it's interesting that I don't know that. I think people are looking at the 100 video shoot a little bit fuzzy,
maybe a little bit biased. Unless I
Yeah.
would like for people to be honest, because I know the industry people sometimes y'all be lying, but I would like for someone to be honest, to be like whether who was Game talking about vesting Drake and OVO people for. I would like, is there, somebody who knows the inside information? Was he saying I'm vesting the OVO people up pertaining to Diddy or something else? Because I would like to know the truth on that.
Yeah, because I think people forget that Jay Prince and Diddy situation that got pretty hot in 2014. And Jay Prince he put his threat out there because he got people in Chicago. He got ties in Cali as well. So what Jay Prince was saying, you can't go around here just putting hands on people and not expect your people, your sons, rapping like Mace to get touched. All right. And I don't know if there's, because right now there seems to be a moratorium on Diddy right now.
And also,
hip hop platforms they don't talk about Diddy as much now.
Also with Wack 100, at that time I thought Wack was also cool with Birdman at that time, and also Jay Prince. Or was they not? Because I don't know. Because sometimes these people also have fallen outs with each other as well.
I think at that time, from what I recall, I didn't think Wack used to always say...
it's more so Birdman, because him and Jay Prince have some issues with Wack 100.
From what I understood. Again, I can't go too far into it because I don't know if Jay Prince got issues with his chauffeur. All right? But what I will tell you is that Wack only used to show up back then in 2015 and 2014 if you saw it was really serious.
Also, just to distract you for a second, Prince, but I don't know why this always happens, but he said, why does your voice sound like you need to cough to clear your throat? Because the funny thing about it, we talked about this. Women never say nothing negative about your voice.
In all of
it's
the
only
years,
time for time. It's only be the guys.
Yeah, it's only the men.
They be like, They be like, you got throat cancer.
Yeah, it's only the men.
They be like, yo, you need to cough.
Yeah. I've never had any woman in the chat say anything about my voice. Not in that sense, but all of the men, yo, man, what up, bro? Yo, man, why you talk like that? Where you from? Who your grandma? So with that being the case, ladies and gentlemen, I just think, the conversation surrounding the 100 video, it's missing a chapter. That would be December 8th, 2014. You would have to go back to when Diddy and Drake allegedly had their erroneous clash with each other over the 0 to 100 beat, because the 0 100 beat was a hot song at the time, and people forget this is Diddy, I'm working. This is I'm working Diddy. You get what I'm saying? Y'all remember that video where it looked like he was in a big old Trojan condom dancing?
Don't bother me. I'm working. I'm not going to lie. 50 Cent had some good trolls. He was trolling Diddy very hard. 50 Cent, when he wasn't as bloated, he was getting some good ones on Diddy. It was funny.
Yeah.
He was going on his marketing on that.
But, I do recall when the 2015 video dropped to 100. I'm going to be honest with you. The biggest talk of it around that time, the biggest thing that was going on was Diddy and Drake and Jay Prince coming out, leaving tape recorders for TMZ.
That is true.
Yeah, remember, it was played on TMZ.
Well, we're going to explore this angle more on the Patreon, where we're going to review back when Diddy and some other people, was saying they were going to put hands on Drake. And again, at that time, it seemed like it was just, sparring pertaining to the bars with Kendrick and Drake. Although I do find it very interesting. I'm going to have to look at Boy Wonder's astrology chart. Because why
they keep mentioning me?
Because why Boy Wonder be at the worst... Why do Boy Wonder be at the worst parts for Drake? Because even with the alleged story that
you better be careful they don't sprinkle no crack on him.
That Boy Wonder
they be putting everything on Boy.
Wanted Kendrick on first person shooter.
Yeah.
And that then how that blew up. So
his name come up more than Metro. Like, damn.
Boy Wonder, Boy Wonder. I gotta look into that because it's interesting. But we have a super chat.
Okay, and with the super chat, let's see here. That's KJ. It says Prince McGruff take a bite out of crime. That's funny. It's fire. Y'all chill. I'm good on it, man. I appreciate the love as always, man. And it's always been like that since growing up. To the point, though, to Sin's point.
I find your voice very sexy, by the way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're
welcome. Growing up, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you a little, when I was 14, I had grown men said, "Hey, little nigga, I kill you. Don't raise your voice at me." So I'm not yelling at you. They don't get smart with me, little nigga. All right. CJ says, all the men in here want to get in the ring with Prince, me included. Why not? Shouts out to CJ, man. That's all love. I appreciate y'all so much, man. But yeah, so with that being the case, you know,
I do sometimes want to say it would be funny if you snap it to a Slim Jim.
Snap into a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. All right. You know, so it is what it is. But I've always had this growing up, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So with that being the case, I do think the conversation with 100 is interesting when you exclude Diddy. You know, excluding Diddy, the conversation happens this way. But if you reintroduce Diddy, especially from December 8th, 2014, it brings more context to the overall video shoot.
Possibly. I mean, we would like more context on that. Yeah, possibly.
Unless one of you guys hop out during the podcast and start talking.
We have another super chat.
Innovator says here, Innovator J says, I remember that time because it wasn't just rumored. Everybody was talking about Diddy slapping Drake and dislocating Drake's shoulder in Miami. Thank you, Innovator J. We have another hip-hop historian in the chat. You know, again, that was the conversation. You know, Diddy was outside slapping blog rappers, allegedly.
Also, shout out to Big Homie. He said, good morning. According to Whack 100, was his song, and he bankrolled it.
There you go. Yeah, I do recall that. Shouts out to that Big Homie as well. Yes, absolutely. I do recall Whack 100 saying, I financed it. All right. So
thank you, Big Homie.
Yeah, shouts out to BH in the building, man. So, you know, I mean, I get it, but Game is going to be outside. We did talk about that, and I think it's going to matter because of the internal politics of it. I think it's going to be mattering because of, you know, it's Kendrick and the Game. I'm not gonna lie to you. When Game was dissing Eminem, I just genuinely wasn't interested.
I wasn't either.
I felt like Game could have really dissed Eminem.
Shout out to Eminem, but still, I wasn't interested.
Now, if Eminem would have been responding, I would have been interested. But I knew he wasn't going to say anything. So that's why I wasn't interested. So it's kind of like...
No, because Prince and I know 100%. And not even just the antics. Even if the Game didn't have any antics connected to him, Eminem would never respond to anybody who's attached to Bloods, Crips, cartels.
Hey, man, fuck that.
GD.
Fuck that, man. Stop it.
Especially after everything that took place with Even Proof. He wouldn't say shit to nobody connected to anything.
Fuck that, dude, man. I'm about to go to perform in Nova Scotia.
Right.
Yeah,
so like, Prince and I, like...
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
To Prince's point, we knew there was nothing that was going to happen with that.
Man,
there was
fuck
no
all that
response.
black on black crime shit. Do you see that motherfucker? He looks like black on black crime. He got tattoos on his face.
And plus, Jimmy Iovine wouldn't allow it.
No, it wouldn't happen. But, you know, if Eminem had respond, I definitely would have been paying attention. And I think for me, I just would have liked to have seen at some point in M's career for him to battle somebody outside of cannabis.
Also,
or, you know, with that being the case.
Dope, there will be live streams soon again on the Patreon, but we have to...
We're working something. We got to rework that situation.
Yeah, we have to rework that situation because, you know, I can't get too many malfunctions. So we'll let everybody know on the Patreon eventually when the live shows will be back on the Patreon. But yeah, still have the podcast and animations coming.
We'll still have the podcast, exclusive podcast.
We got Mr. Z and the Rocker Stones coming for y'all. We got Snow Walker and the what did I say?
It says Snowbirds.
And the Snowbirds.
Yes.
We got what's the other one? Grandma's Quilt.
Yeah.
And the
Cloggers.
Yeah, and the Street
Cloggers.
The Street Cloggers.
Yeah.
We got Do the Knowledge. We got Minister Flint coming back outside and Milton and all that. So there's a lot of stuff that's gonna be on the Patreon.
Yeah, so, you know, we'll see where the conversation heads, but for me, when I look at 100, of course, there's now furthering context with Kendrick Lamar 616 in L.A., and the idea that the video shoot was filmed on 6/16/2015, but that's also in retrospect coming behind the Diddy Drake situation. So, it'll be interesting if there's more of a 360 conversation to that video outside of where, quote unquote, Game and Kendrick's relationship fall apart. And I can actually, from, the dynamics, what we've seen with Kendrick Lamar, of course that'll look crazy. A nigga coming to your hood, smoking on your name in a verse, and I think around that time, Kendrick still was collaborating with the Game. I think the last collaboration we got out of the Game was on, if I'm not mistaken, it was the documentary 2.5, somewhere, because that's when J-Rock and Ab-Soul, they was sprinkled all through that album with E40.
Yeah, but again, we don't know what took place there behind the scenes.
No.
Stat talked about the Game didn't know that it was that serious. He could have been right if he was mostly focusing on Diddy putting a cap in and Drake. Who knows? But eventually, whatever the truth is, it will come to light. Also, Queen, the reason why the Game still stayed afloat is because his 2 mixtape it was very bar heavy, and a lot of old heads liked the mixtape that the Game dropped with DJ Drama. If you go on X, a lot of the lyrical nerds and a lot of the old heads who like all of that fiery, aggressive bar play, word play type of energy, punchlines.
Yeah,
they really enjoyed
little boom bap action.
The Game's mixtape, and because he can still rap, that has been holding him afloat.
Yeah,
despite all the other stuff.
Game still raps. Also, thank you so much, Jay, for the correction. Again, this is not an egotistical platform. You are absolutely correct. Jesus Peace. I do remember getting that album. That's the joint that had Ali Boombaye on there with 2 Chainz.
Ali Boombaye.
Skateboard on a nigga's back. Right, and with Rick Ross. But yes, Jesus Peace, I recall, I think that will be the last collaboration with Game and Kendrick Lamar, which that track was fire. All right, so with that being the case, though, I don't think, did Drake have a feature on Jesus Peace? I don't know. I can't recall, because Game and Drake usually got some pretty good tracks together as well. So it's just interesting, though, if you contextualize all of this in the history of events. Some events are not being recounted right now, which could add context. But again, till the industry heads get out on their podcast and start talking about it, then, it remains to be disproven at this point.
Now, going to Drake and Jay-Z, you had Memphis Bleek go on Maul's show and said there's no issues.
Right.
This platform never went into the lie that Drake and Jay-Z don't have any type of smoke, because for damn near 10 years, they've had subliminals towards each other.
Yes, they have.
And
even when Maul said they never did do that.
And allegedly, they have corporate competition.
Yes.
Even with Tidal, him going there with OVO, pertaining to Drake. Which is why, there's a lot of people having debates right now over even Dirt's video when he talks about Roc Nation law firm, and what's going on with there, and also with Gamma, and Larry and Jackson, and also, of course, what happened with Stake. Now, some people online are alleging that Stake and Fanatics are having, are competitive with each other. We'll see. We'll find out. But as for people saying that Drake and Jay-Z, they're not competing, they've been competing with each other for a while now. And, we, even in 2018, reported on the Jay-Z and Drake saga pertaining to alleged plots and all that we'll get into more on the Patreon. But getting into Drake's Steak and, the Steak Cake live show or live stream?
That's what it was called, the Steak Cake?
I don't know what it was called,
That's
but
funny.
The clips I saw online, I didn't think this was serious. I thought, this is like a Zoolander... Dude, Where's My Car? Nick Cannon, Change of Heart, Balloon, Love Show, Play Comedy.
Yeah,
I think other people are taking it a little bit too serious, because it look like, even I thought Spectre did the right thing. Like, Spectre had fun with it. He did the Not Like Us and mixed it with it, and it was very funny.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like people are about to make a million boring think pieces on. From what I saw with the clips, is like just supposed to be this comedy love connection type live show that he did with these ladies. What's your thoughts on that, Prince?
I think what Drake has been able to do, though, what works for him, he's really been able to kind of build his own, like, Dracosphere. Does that make sense? He's like, it's his own.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
like,
it's his own Dracosphere. It's his own Truman Show where he makes the music and the soundtrack, and then he got the dating shows, and it's kind of reminiscent to, Fifth Wheel, Change Your Heart. Like, he's playing on a lot of tropes from the 2000s when, people was going through school and everything. I think he's created his own Dracosphere. My honest opinion, that's what I normally take all of that as. And I didn't really think much of it. I didn't watch all of it or anything. I've seen some clips here and there, but I think it's like his own Dracosphere.
Yeah, actually, this is where I hope it goes because, like, if it just stays on comedy and stuff, I don't want none of the street stuff or none of the possible worst case scenarios in this. I would like it to be Saved by the Bell, I don't know, like, just like non-serious, goofy pageantry, people going back to saying who they feel is better with, the fan base just staying on that instead of like people getting serious with media platforms and YouTubers like getting into real spats with each other over celebrities. I'd rather it be in that space than it to be something serious.
Yeah, I think Drake, for the most part, my honest opinion about it, I think he's at this point, he's accepted publicly being goofy. I think for a long time, I think early on, he was a little irritated and hot-headed about,
he was taking himself
it was too serious. Like when
when
they used to have the memes that used to say Drake is the type of guy, and I remember I saw an interview where he said, like, I'm sick of people saying I'm the type of guy. And I was like, nigga, that's crazy. That is something you should run with, actually, because it's branding. It gets you out there. But I think at this point in time, with the dating, first of all, it leans into his audience. A lot of the guys, a lot of the girls, even in their hopes to be on, Change of Drake. All right, in their hopes to be on Change of Drake, I tried out. He's really doing a lot of throwback to like reality MTV era television.
That's what I've analyzed it as well.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of that.
Black McBain said Drake would be Harley Quinn. That's funny.
I see, of course he was going to take his shots, but they all taking shots still. They all kind of taking shots with you. ASAP Rocky just had his interview with Jason Lee. He talked about, I want to do Gangs of New York, Irish bare knuckle fight with Drake. I'm like,
I like that too.
All of this shit, they all doing it somewhere.
I would say that the ASAP Rocky and Drake interaction, it gives hope that this is just
like
maybe all these industry people are trying to.
They just peacocking.
Are trying to lie to the audience. Maybe it's not that serious, and they all just, like you said, peacocking because when ASAP Rocky was like, and Drake and Kendrick and 2 Chainz and I, we should have won Grammys. Malcolm Moore should have lost. And he said the Grammys played all of them.
Yeah.
And then when ASAP was like talking about, and I want to do an Irish, bare knuckle fighting with Drake.
I want to get in a cage with the Canadian.
Yeah, this stuff seems light. Like this was making it seem like okay.
I want to throw dirt in his eye.
People are just having like girl squabbles. It's not that serious, And then, like you said, with the whole the Change of Heart live steak show with Drake, it just seems like it was just fluff stuff. So
what's crazy though? Game walked so Drake could run, because I remember when we was growing up, when there was footage found of Game being on Change of Heart, that was like used against him. Although he beat most of the niggas that used it against him, but he was on the dating show. Now, at the time, I didn't think anything was wrong with it. I was like, all right, so what? The nigga went on a reality show. Probably it was lying anyway. It was entertainment, because I told y'all a story when I was in high school. Somebody had tried. I think I just got into like 9th grade, 10th grade, and because how I looked and sounded, people thought I was older. So a lady that was a representative of, what was that show called? Cheaters. Had approached me.
I remember
she approached me. Yeah, she approached me about the possibility of being casted on Cheaters. I said, what?
Well,
I said, what? And she said, no, we hired. She says, A lot of them are actors.
Well,
but she says
that.
if
Jerry Springer hired a lot of actors.
Yeah, it was acting. Corey Holcomb was on Jerry Springer.
Even the worst of all, Chris Hansen eventually.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up. Yeah. Who, like they said, a few of the people didn't know that they were being casted to play a you-know-what. Like, that's fucked up.
I would fight Chris Hansen.
I would beat the shit out of that.
I would fight. I would suplex him through that kitchen table. But I would slam him through that Ashley furniture table.
But I gotta say, people gotta not be gullible for money though. If a white guy comes and randomly be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pay you $1,000 for this," like, for what? Like, you not giving out money unless it's something really fucked up.
Well, the lady, she was actually legit. But I was too young at the time. But she did tell me. She said, and she broke it down. I said, but I thought this is what I said to her. I say, but I thought cheaters was real. She says, no, it's not. It's not.
No, it's just white people fucking up your brains again.
Yeah. And she said,
Sonny, we just like fucking with the public, so they, can do nothing with their lives, yes, and get caught up in this.
You're right. She also said, now, if you are selected, if your segment is selected to go on television, I think she said you will be comped like $300 or something like that. And then she said, now, if you opt to have your face blurred, I think the rate was lower. I think it was like $300. And if you choose to have your face unblurred, they will pay you more. And then that was the case. So when I looked at Change Your Heart, I think Game looked like he might have been acting up there. I think it was all acting.
He's getting that money.
Getting that money. But now Drake on a live stream can comfortably set up his own Change Your Heart. My, oh my, have times changed. All right. So, yeah, but, overall, I did see Drake was talking about pin game and anybody ready to come outside. Of course, I think he's doing responses directly to A$AP Rocky as well and some other people. Look, ladies and gentlemen, these guys are going to be taking shots at each other for a moment.
That's the thing only about it. Like, even with this whole situation, it's kind of weird because a part of the media is making it seem like all of this is just fabricated. There's no seriousness to this. Okay. People are just trying to play everybody to make money. But then the other side of media is making it seem like this is gang warfare and anyone could die at any time. And it's a very weird energy that you see online happening. Like, is this serious or is this not? Like, even when J. Cole, the Fall Off album, which I think is a great album, and I think Birthday Blizzard was amazing. But even on Birthday Blizzard, he's saying, I paused it because the game is fake and this rapping, this battle wasn't even that serious. It was make-believe. But then on the Fall Off, it's subliminal messaging of the battle being aligned to Tupac and Biggie and people being set up. And it seems like...
He did have a song that was talking about Biggie and Tupac.
And it seems like the psychology of all of this in media right now in hip-hop is a split between, it's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There's a two-faced energy to it.
Yeah.
Is it serious or is it not? Is it just guys making drama, doing hip-hop soap opera for money? Or is this something that actually can lead to something very serious that will have major consequences in the future?
I think you're getting that energy, Sam, because it's millennial men. The energy, there's a running joke about millennial men. The energy is a little bit different than Gen X men and, boomer men, who were overly serious.
Also, we have a super chat by Victory.
So, animation of Prince body slamming Chris Hansen. Funny. Shouts out to you. We appreciate you so much. Yeah, that does suck that you just went to go get some money for a gig, even if you never did acting, but you're sitting in front of Chris Hansen as a you-know-what, and they tell you like, yeah, so what are you doing here? Or this is how they edit you. You're like, man, all I wanted to, I just was trying to get some. I was just trying to get. And
then you lose your job and everything.
Yeah, you just trying to get some Whataburger money. Now you unemployed. All right.
Also, we will be talking further about the Clarity Act pertaining to cryptocurrency. We're gonna go into more of a deep dive on Patreon, but we will have some reporting and a video dedicated to the Clarity Act as well, pertaining to what's going to happen with crypto and what are the cryptocurrencies that will be getting major play if everything goes according to plan.
God says passive aggressive generation. I think that's one of the reasons why the subs drew out. They drew along for like 11 years. Like Nas and Jay-Z, if I recall, I think maybe a year or two, they were kind of throwing shots at each other, and they just got right into it. Like by the third year, it kind of just got.
I don't know though, but there were.
But they said they was upset. They said allegedly that Jay-Z might have been upset because Nas was supposed to be on Dead Presidents, and he didn't come through for the session for whatever reason. And I think they were saying the rumor was that Jay may have kind of held that against Nas at the time.
I actually slightly disagree here. I don't think the millennial class was being passive aggressive. I just think they were trying to listen to a lot of their mentors because
the money.
When Jay-Z and Drake got into it, they got into it immediately. Sorry, Miss Drizzy Drake, for the things I caused you about. Like,
but who is Jay-Z's big homie?
Drake and Common got into it immediately. If you even go to Young Dolph and what's his name?
You talking about Big Head?
Yeah, what's Big Head name out there?
Yo Gotti.
Yeah, Yo Gotti and Dolph. Dolph got into it immediately with Yo Gotti. Yo Gotti is a Gen Xer.
But do you see that sin though? But okay, I'm not saying that millennial. I am a millennial man. I'm not saying that we're not going to be direct. I'm very direct. All right. Sometimes I find older guys be indirect with me. But I'll tell you this is what I'm saying. When you're talking about cross-generational rifts, like with all of the new millennial niggas at that time, they all had big homies. They all had, an overhead. Like Jay-Z don't have an overhead. Gotti didn't really have an overhead. Common ain't have no overhead. So there was nobody to, unless somebody up here comes to Common behind the scenes and like, hey man, what you doing with Drake? Like, what's the point of this?
Kid Cudi went quick after Lupe.
Ain't nobody gonna stop that shit.
No, but I'm just saying there were a lot of millennials who did get into quick.
Well, I'm just saying the lordship though of the dynamics is that people were advising them who quote unquote lived through the Tupac and Biggie era. Like, they'll tell them, yo man, just get the money, man. Like, leave this shit to the street, man. Who care about all that, bro? Just get the money. All right, I'm gonna ignore him, but if he take one more shot at me, right? So I believe that's kind of how it was. But overall, though, we'll see where exactly everything else goes concerning. We're speaking about this Drake dynamic. As far as his live stream, like I said, I just think that's catering to his base.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you do have Gen X tendencies though.
Oh yeah.
And then even when my people heard you on the phone, they thought you were
older,
much older. They thought you was much older.
What do you want? Well, my daughter, right? Yeah. So. I mean, it happens. I mean, I've had people like, even when I was on Clubhouse one time, we was talking about some rap stuff, and a guy went off on me, and he talking about, niggas like you left the home. You left us on the corner. I was there.
They was like, he said niggas like you left us in the streets to fend for ourselves.
He said, who left you, nigga?
And then Prince said, I'm the same age as you, nigga.
Like, what you talking about? Where I leave you? Were we in a gang and we were banging together and I left you in the car when the police came? What are you talking about, nigga?
Know me by now.
You would never know. So it's happened, and sometimes when I've hopped onto spaces, I've had guys from my generation tell me, "Nigga, you ain't my daddy," and their voices would crack like that. And I said, "What? I'm not your daddy. What are you talking about?"
Also, Prince J, we believe, of course, that things are serious between Drake and Kendrick right now. But in 2015, for that 100 video, we thought when Game was saying put a vest on people, we thought maybe it was pertaining to Diddy or something else, even with the subliminal diss towards Kendrick. So
y'all laughing about that? Yeah, no, it is. I'm gonna get back to that too. That has always been the case. Every time I've gotten on Clubhouse, every time I've gotten on X, some random nigga wants to lock in with me and tell me that I'm not his daddy or I left him out in the streets with a dirty diaper. Also, let's see here. TDE and Cash Money is the reason it didn't happen earlier. As soon as they were alone, they directly dissed each other. I did hear that too, Mel, is that the TDE kind of Cash Money dynamics and some of the other politicking that goes on behind the scenes played a role into that. Actually, that would tie into it, because even Glasses was tied to I believe Cash Money. And remember, Cash Money Records, they kind of took in a lot of West Coast niggas too. Mac 10, Glasses. The Game eventually was on Cash Money at one point in time too as well.
Yeah, I mean, even though we were ahead of the curve and a lot of the narrations that are out here right now, a lot of it was, us, our reporting and stuff. But we slowed down on our channel because I'm like, if this thing is serious to the point of somebody getting killed, I don't want to participate in that. I remember when Prince went and you met, what's his name? The reporter.
Kevin Powell.
Kevin Powell, and he told you he regretted how he reported or...
Well, there was a conversation about journalism around that time with Biggie and Tupac.
He was so ambitious, and as a young journalist, he was a part of a lot of the journalists at that time. They were instigating a lot of stuff. They weren't trying to make amends between people who can have miscommunication. They weren't trying to, make it better. They was like putting gasoline on already a fire, not to blame just the journalists first because, Biggie and Pac and Diddy, they're still grown men even though they're in their mid-20s, right? To be fair. But he was talking about how he felt he shouldn't have, as a journalist, added to so much of the chaos because he thought it was going to build up his career. But the consequences was because him and so many other people at that time lacked accountability and maturity, it just led to a situation that was just
the conversation was like about like the energy of journalism around that time, which doesn't really get discussed as much. When we're talking about how did journalists cover, you could argue 94, 95, 96. You could even argue further back with Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, and Snoop getting dissed by Eazy-E as well. And there were gang politics involved in that situation. But Tupac and Biggie was really the moneymaker because it directly involved a media hub central, which is New York. And we're talking about New York is a big pioneering spot in broadcasting all the way down to newspapers as well. So whereas what you saw with Snoop, Eazy-E, Dr. Dre is happening in the West Coast, there's a Hollywood dynamic to it because, Hollywood's right out their backyard. And so you're seeing rap videos where they're making fun of Eazy-E, they making fun of Snoop, got him look like a skinny crackhead. It's all this other type of stuff. But when you're talking about publications out of New York and the coverage that went on with New York or the East Coast versus the West Coast, there are journalists that have been from that era that said, wisely at the time, you got to think about it. Some of them were 19, some of them were 18. That's why I say everything, even what we're doing is all rhyming, but some of them, they were very ambitious. Some of them were happy to be a part of a quote-unquote new wave of Gen X black reporters. Hip-hop, they were celebrating and prideful about their culture. We are the culture. This is hip-hop. Guys, this is what it is. But I actually had a family member, and they said they do remember when they heard Hit 'Em Up. They said somebody's going to die, right? Like they said, no, somebody's going to die. I think to the point that you talked about it here, Sid, the Kendrick and Drake dynamic is probably, I would say, next to the Kendrick and Game situation. I think those is two of the more static charging situations.
Yeah, and next to the Drake and Jay-Z. Also, Big Boy in LA said Diddy and Suge beef started over Andre Harrell and Biggie not performing at 662 as a favor for Suge in early 95.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that lead into 96 that, 95 was supposed to be a particular year that was kicking a lot of things off. If you guys really be honest, whereas with Kendrick and Drake, it's the two rappers. But with Biggie, with Death Row and Bad Boy, it was really an issue between two executives. Suge and Diddy.
But there's executives involved in this too.
That is true.
We'll go further on that.
Yeah, no, that part is true. Yeah, we had to talk about that later.
But in 2024, we talked about all the executives that were involved in this too, because
you're right. Yeah, we talked about that.
This is a corporate competition and corporate warfare. Yeah. People who have their independent record labels, people also coming from the big majors that are still trying to take a float, buying up the smaller distribution hubs.
And you got financial backers squaring off with other financial backers through artists.
Right.
As well, because there are other entities in this conversation, but seeing that we've been talking about this since 2024, that there are other civil wars within the industry that's not just squarely on Kendrick and Drake, or even Drake and Jay-Z. Does that make sense to you all?
Right. That's why when people like certain angles are, man, people just saying this angle because it's OVO. People are just saying this angle because it's TDE. It really don't matter where you think the angle is coming from. It's what is it true or not? That's what I like to look at. Like, people always be like, "What is it's about the camps?" Sometimes camps tell the truth. Sometimes they lie. You know, if you are investigating something, it's up to you to figure out where the truth is. It's kind of like even when we was talking about, even the Rock Nation and OVO.
Yeah.
Even in 2024.
Right.
And, you know, people was like, nah, stop it. There won't be no Jay-Z and Drake. We said, yes it is. I said, are you kidding me? Yes, it will be. What are you talking about?
It will.
Absolutely. So
they're trying to give us a stand down.
So we'll see what happens with all of this.
They were trying to treat us like Green Arrow. I said, stand down.
But we're going to have people call in and let us know their thoughts on this, okay? Also, guys, I'm sorry, but I know for people who like this topic, we won't be talking about this every day.
Man, damn, Thought Crimez.
Prince and I get bored talking about the subject just every day ad nauseum.
What?
We will be having breakdowns on this still, though. We will be talking about it periodically. You're going to get animations and stuff on the Patreon. Don't worry, we'll be dissecting all of this, but we're also going to be mixing it up with a lot of other topics of interest from
Terror Squad. We in here.
What's going on with the technocrats, the tech scene,
absolutely,
movie reviews, and other things as well. But we're going to allow people to call in, let us know your thoughts about the game and Kendrick, about Drake and Jay-Z, Rock Nation, all that stuff. Y'all call in and say y'all opinion.
Yeah, you know what, Sid, I'm glad you caught me on that one. I did forget, you and I, we deeply discussed early on in 2024 executive issues. And then you and I think in 2017, 2018, we talked about the title situation and the dynamics with Drake. And we talked about when Drake did his freestyle over some of the tracks from 444. And he talked about Family Feud. And then Jay-Z got up there with the B-sides and he was talking about stuff as well. So, yeah, sitting there, we've been kind of covering this for a moment about what's been going on. And, yes, there are executives behind the scenes that are actually, you know, they're at war with each other just like any other corporate endeavor. You know,
well, that's why we tread in lightly, because not because we're scared, but it's not really our battle.
Nah, y'all niggas scared. Too scared, niggas.
No, it's like people try to stress us out about shit that don't got nothing to do with us. Like, you know, except for the only thing that has something to do with us is us being an independent platform. And I don't like people telling us what to do. You know, if we wanted to have commanders and people from the industry telling us to do, we would be in the industry. But anyway, the number is 903-600-0530. Again, the number is 903-600-0530. 0530. Call in to the show. Let us know what you think about this particular subject on Kendrick and the game versus each other, on Jay-Z and Drake still having their competition with each other, and also the corporate warfare that is taking place as well. You know, this is going to be really interesting. Some of this stuff I am going to save for the Patreon because it feels a lot of internal affairs, Departed, you know.
Because money is there.
McDonald's, remember the story of McDonald's?
You know, the money is going to be put here. It ain't going to be put in the medical system. It's going to be put here where the entertainers are. All right? Now, if and when Game decides to drop his diss track, I actually do believe it's going to make more noise than his diss tracks against Eminem. And the only reason why I'm making that statement, not out of Game being favored, is that people knew Eminem has never really delved into that, and there wasn't really an audience for that. All right, y'all. 781. You are now live with the Think Tank. This your man P Solo, along here with Sin. What's up, and good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just want to give a shout out to you both. Listened to you for a few years. You guys always keep it real and say how it is. I just had a question about the whole Rock Nation subpoena thing. I think I'm a little like, what's the big deal? Why are they suing Drake or Spake or like I don't. What's the big deal? Why can't everybody just go rap? Why does it have to be drama and fighting?
You trying to get us in trouble? No, it's not.
Oh, forget it. Nah. Abort mission.
That's a good question.
It's fine. To be honest with you, caller, you say you want to go first?
Yeah, why can't we all get along? I wish that was the case too, but it's about real estate. You know, a lot of times they also, it's not just only Rock Nation, but when you're talking about these people who are connected to a lot of big money, they have law firms and big time lawyers that they're connected to. So if you're an independent media platform or a corporate competitor, and let's say maybe you're being sloppy with your language, or maybe you're not thinking about certain consequences, you can get sued by anybody in that industry. You know, one of the reasons why the lawsuit with Cardi B was successful against Tasha K, is because, she went on about, the herpes and STDs and all that, and it turned out to not be true and all that. So with independent media, we have to be careful where we don't turn anything into a campaign or push so hard if we don't even know if it's true or not, number one. And number two, beyond even just independent media, there's been corporate sabotage and big dogs taking each other out all the time. It happens every day in the tech world. It happens every day in entertainment, hostile takeovers. So right now, what you're seeing with all the subpoenas and this Rock Nation stuff, allegedly, you're seeing two giants, Drake and Jay-Z, allegedly compete with each other for the corporate pie. Even when you're talking about even overseas, when you're talking about football, right? Maul said, Drake is going to be performing at, the World Cup and all this other stuff.
Yeah, the World Cup.
And listen, you already have people who've been competing with Drake be like, yo, this is a good opportunity. Even before, Maul said something, though. You already saw people going into the World Cup and FIFA and making business deals. Just to make a long story short, this is about corporate competition and real estate. It's about, if you are a competitor, you either join my side or you get destroyed.
Yeah, all you got to do, those are...
It's like get down or lay down or both.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you know how it is. And when they tell you to lay down, they want you to stay down too. Don't you get your head back up. Don't get back up. Don't. All right, and just to answer this as well, one of the things that Sen and I we did see, early on in 2016, 17, 18. Okay, just to put it this way, Drake plays a very large role in the infrastructuring of what we now know as streaming, with music and everything. And Jay-Z, because Jay-Z, and there was Jimmy Iovine, then there was Larry Jackson, and, I think with the exception of Larry Jackson, I think Sen and I in 2017, we covered all of this, right? About, because the bidding situation concerning streaming, it was being touted as a new thing, like AI had been touted in the past recent years. And every so often, Silicon Valley hustlers come outside, hey, man, we got this new flip. Let's get in on it, right? And so Jay-Z wanted to be a competitor in that market. And he was able to acquire a system, rename it as Tidal, and he went on this grand campaign because, he is a celebrity, and so he lent his name to it. So this is when you started seeing, like Seat at the Table, Lemonade, 444, the Carters. There was this the black economics, the black dollar, the black bank.
You rather work with the white man instead of me. And remember, everybody went over there with Tidal, with the exception of Drake. Nicki was there, J. Cole, Ye.
Drake was.
How did that turn out with the people? Kanye looks lost. Nicki, like all the people that was on stage with Jay-Z, it don't look like it helped them much.
Well,
Idol.
Well, just to say this, okay, Drake was announced as a partner, I think, all the way up to the very day, and then they said that Larry Jackson and Jimmy Iovine lured him away with a $20 million check, and then that launches the iTunes stuff. Now that's a big thing because for Jay-Z's platform Tidal, out the gate, he was going to get bad publicity because his face on it. Not that he did anything wrong to anybody, but he don't have the same pull or the liquidity in the market to offset.
The equity and also the business relationships where you don't get in trouble for botting, because all the platforms buy Xbox, but you have to have certain type of relationships so your ass don't get locked up.
Yeah. So what happened? What happened with that situation?
Kind of like Live Nation. Like Live Nation kind of backs them now, so they're the big dogs, pretty much.
So
you connecting the dots already? Yes.
So what happened?
I'm sorry. It's good. The lights are going off, then. So then nobody really could be able to mess with them then, because Live Nation's huge.
Well, yeah, Live Nation is huge, but Tidal wasn't like a Live Nation project per se. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, not at that time.
Yeah, it was
not at that time.
Yeah, it wasn't that big yet. Got it.
Yeah, Jay-Z was really pushing the line with it for Tidal. He had Madonna on stage. He had the white boy with the mouse hat on. He had J. Cole on stage. So it was a bunch of people up there. It looked like it looked like celebrity deathmatch. Okay,
I'm not gonna lie. It was so random on stage. It did look like celebrity deathmatch. It did look crazy, but
yeah. So you had that. Now, one big name at the time was supposed to be there, and that was Drake. Now, one could argue with Drake adding his name to the pot and him being seen as the front runner of the millennial rap class, that could have given Jay-Z more cultural liquidity to kind of offset the level of negative. Because we did cover at the time entitled Jay-Z's Tidal company was being raked through the coals in tech journalism, and it was like, at some point, actually, Spotify was there was times when Spotify was malfunctioning, and they were covering Tidal though at the time. And Sin and I, we did talk about that, and Prince did decide to collaborate with Jay-Z because Prince was believing in the message that Jay-Z and Beyonce at the time was going. But anyway, the whole point was Jay-Z did get on stage on the B-side freestyle, and he was addressing, quote unquote, the culture with Drake at the time when he said they'd rather work for the man than work with me.
That's where all the culture talk first started with Drake. I know,
got it.
People like Drake is
outside. Ain't they all
of
working for the man essentially? Ain't they all working for the white man essentially?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what makes this all dumb.
Redundant. I guess it seems like, I don't know. I'm gonna shut up because they might get my phone number and come get me. So I'm gonna just shut up and just be a blind mouse. I want to say shout out to y'all. Keep doing your work. Keep showing up. You guys are doing great. And keep informing the people. You guys are quite neutral, which I like, right? Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like you have a dog in a fight, but because y'all will shit on everybody. So that's one thing I do like. Like, y'all keep it real. So I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for answering my question. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. So thank you guys.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. You take care.
Like she said, look, it's white guys and Jewish guys and all types of men behind all these guys. There's no Puritan in this pro-black space, but it was funny. Ever since Drake did turn down the Tidal deal, people who have been using cultural references against him ever since.
Right,
you're not black enough. You're not from the.
2015
wasn't
like,
why,
a good year.
Why didn't y'all say that before the Tidal deal?
Hey, man, he would have been there, but he didn't. And then Drake says, what did he say on one of the Jay-Z joint? He said, I guess it's Black Lives Matter, except when it comes to me.
Oh, that's what he said on that's when they
the Family Feud.
Yeah, Family Feud.
Yeah, freestyle.
They made up again.
Right.
So they were cool again.
Right.
And so then, he said that on that song, like, I guess it's black accomplishments or black excellence, except when it comes to me, da 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 da. Lil Wayne was also on that track as well.
Yeah, but for people that ask, like, that's really kind of where it looks like the static started to develop, and then there just seemed to have been some things going on, and then, like Sin said, they made up, and then what was it after the Meek Mill situation, and then Drake dropped Summer 16 after he ran over Meek Mill, right? And then he said, I used to wanted to be on Rockefeller until I turned into Jay. And then that's when Jay-Z responded on I Got the Keys. You know, you can't be your own unless you own your own. You can't be me unless you own your own. And then it kind of kicked the shit back up again.
And also, just to say this comment before we get to the next caller, hip hop seems like so the industry is against Drake or with him. It's a new narrative every day. Actually, it's quite simple. Yes, the industry is against Drake and it's for Drake, just like any of these people. You have a split in corporate interests.
It's like deep state.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, what if you had an example? Let's say if Warner Brothers was going up against Disney, right? And you had two major figures on the opposite end. Let's say Drake was for Warner Brothers and Jay-Z was for Disney. And they went into competition. When people say the industry is against Drake, it's a half truth because to some degree it is true because there's one corporate faction against Drake.
It's no different than what you see in politics. Deep states, whenever a new president comes into office, there's an aspect of the deep state that don't mess with them.
Same thing with the Kendrick thing. Same thing with the Jay-Z thing. So that's why everybody who's for whatever group is saying the industry against my guy. Well, technically, y'all all have the corporate people behind y'all. Y'all all have backers. And y'all all are trying to win for your team.
Now, what we do know is the industry is 100% against independence.
That's the
You get shot up on both sides.
That is true. Especially now after the 2024 battle.
Yeah,
especially now, like you step on the wrong landmine.
Yeah.
You have three different corporate interests who like try to smack on you.
Yes.
You know, you say anything too reckless about Drake, Kendrick, Jay-Z, or actually mostly them three. Yeah. Nicki, you know, is starting to dwindle. She do have her core fan base that's still out, but you know, we'll see what happens with that.
It seems like there's a recession going on over there before she rolls out with something else. I think Nicki's going to be coming back outside. Also, again, 903-600-0530. The calls are still open. We appreciate the last caller. She did make me laugh. She said, well, what is this about? Yeah.
I know. She was acting like, yo, did somebody kill someone?
Yeah.
Like,
What's all that?
In this situation with Jay-Z and Drake, no, nobody harmed anybody's family. It just seems to be corporate sabotage, competition, all that type of stuff right now.
Hey, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. And again, you know, we're going to do some further covering because, like Sid stated, you know, we'll have our conversation about Glasses stating that Jayceon Terrell Taylor is jealous of Kendrick, and that has been a narrative out here as well. So we'll take a look into it and share our thoughts about those dynamics. Just very interesting. International civil war.
And we also
in hip hop.
We breaking down what Dirt was talking about pertaining to Rock Nation's law firm. So that will be broken down on the Patreon exclusively.
Larry Jackson and all of that.
And also what G Malone said about the game will be broke down exclusively on the Patreon.
State gambling, you know, there's a lot going on. How y'all feeling though? Are y'all getting any good albums? How y'all feeling? Y'all think y'all getting some good albums out of everything?
There's still a lot of good music
what y'all
dropping.
think about that? There's a lot of good music.
Also, again, the number is 903-600-0530. Call in at any time pertaining to what you think of any of the subjects between the game versus Kendrick and Drake versus Jay-Z as well.
Yeah, do you think Game will be going for one of those like conductorish type beats if he's going to drop an official diss record against Kendrick, or you think he's going to have something with a little bit more snap in it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna try to learn his lesson from the Rick Ross thing. Because he's what we wrote even on the Patreon, he's not good with bait tracks. He's actually, the game is good when he just goes straight traditional with a diss record. A lot of the people, more so in recent time, more what they say new kids on the block, millennial class, have been a little bit better suited with bait tracks versus the Gen X. I actually prefer when the Gen Xers
just come outside,
just get into it. That's, you know,
don't forewarn us 4 scores ago.
Yeah, and even
like
and
7 years ago. Yeah,
although I think 38 Special did a pretty damn good job, but still, I prefer when like Gen Xers just get into it. And even with the bait tracks with millennials, it's 50-50. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not.
Kendrick and Drake then had 11 years of bait tracking each other. I'm just being honest. It was 11 years of bait. That's what it was. All right. But they finally got it, and it was a hell of a battle. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, no, to that question, I think It's interesting. I will say this, Sin, about the glasses situation. I remember early on in 2024, he was on a podcast and he said, I don't think Game is taking shots at Dot. I don't think there's an issue there. It is interesting to see, like, now, come what 2 years now, this is the conversation now. So clearly things are moving along here, as they say within the culture. Rick Ross ignored him. Rick Ross knows that the Game, that's a lie, that's a long tie-in, and Rick Ross preferred to, soak up his energy at the time, like making sure he had his public victories. Now, I will say this. I don't know what it is, but 50 Cent cannot get a joke to land on Rick Ross for nothing. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I mean, it just seems like Rick gets charged right up for 50 Cent. Because, they were cooking him about them album sales, right? But all albums they doing, all over the place.
Well, you saw Ray Daniels. He said that Jay-Z's not coming outside unless he knows he's going to get numbers. He said he ain't going to let Drake and no VO Birds troll him.
You remember you and I, we joked about that.
We did joke
we
about that.
We talked about that. There ain't no way Jay-Z going to come outside and he did 30,000 units.
He don't want to get Rick Ross. Even though Rick Ross never really sold crazy like that anyway.
But it's because he was talking shit in 2024.
Right. Caller, you're here with Thought Crimez. What's up?
Hey, what's going on? It's Film H-Town. I was going to ask y'all about the Larry Jackson situation. If y'all have seen how, what is it? Is he with, is it Gamma? What's the name of his company?
It's Gamma.
Yeah, it's Gamma.
Okay, yeah. Hey, did y'all see how the websites that, were basically, how can I put this? They were throwing smut on his name, and how he filed lawsuit to get the names of the people that put out those websites.
Yeah, I did see that. I actually saw the websites when they were calling him Larry Scammer. I mean, it clearly, like, it was kind of like some lame stuff. Now, to the flip,
it was AI websites too.
Yeah, they were AI websites that you can have them generated real quickly, especially today. But it did tie into, what Sin and I said, with academics when he was going to go and debate Two-Tone. And, we said there was going to be some sort of lock-in trap there. And so apparently during their debate that Charlamagne was also referencing one of those AI sites that disappeared the next day. And yes, Larry Jackson did file a lawsuit.
But what was crazy too, Filmtown, is that in 2024, what was interesting is that Gamma was brought up a lot by Joe Budden.
It was. He had him on his podcast. He had an interview with him.
He had Larry Jackson on the podcast, and
but you and I, we saw some things early on the year in 2024. Well, they were already dissecting.
Well, that's why I was saying, like, Joe Budden was talking about Gamma during the 2024 battle.
Yep.
But then you also had Reddit all of a sudden dissecting a lot about Gamma and Larry Jackson as well.
Yeah, and what's the girl's name from St. Louis? The red girl, they was out
Sexy Red?
Yes, Sexy Red. Yeah. So I do think that is interesting, and it would be something to pay attention to in the context of corporations having their compete. And again, you can still be from the industry, just to be clear, and be a disruptor somewhere. And again, there is a mainframe of an industry that does not care so much for disruptors.
Well, it's weird because, and I want your thoughts on this too, Filmtown. On Larry's official Gamma profile, it talks about like this person allegedly, because I don't know none of these people, but allegedly Gamma is supposed to be like this 100% black run owned or something like that, multimedia platform, music independent, all that. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that one?
That's the play. Like that, everything that's going on, with Kendrick and the Game, and Jay-Z and Drake have superfluous stuff that we see, in the media with What the Dirt's documentaries, and then DJ Academics when he gets online or whatever, and he talks about the superfluous stuff, the stuff that we see in the front. The Larry Jackson thing is what is the big play that everybody's fighting for behind the scenes, because it's pretty much from what I could take. Because I watched some of the documentaries this weekend, I found it really fascinating. It's like State is trying to basically lock down, online real estate. They're basically trying to be like, hey, look, man, if we have an artist, we're going to be able to put them on the streamers, that we have. We got the streamers, that we have that are producing content and keeping Jake, quote unquote, Jake's name in the algorithm. And then with the lawsuits where they're trying to get rid of Stake and saying, no, Stake's not a raffle company, they're gambling, that eats into what Jay-Z's trying to do with the dude from FanDuel. But Drake, what I'm seeing Larry Jackson and what Drake and Larry Jackson are trying to do is basically use Stake as a Trojan horse to basically lock down other parts of the music industry.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think what you broke down is brilliant. Yes, this is go back to just this is being a corporate real estate. You know, even when you're talking about Fanatics as well with Michael Rubin and what he's trying to do, he has like a couple of lawsuits right now that also the NFL is tied up in with memorabilia, but they trying to like take be ahead of that market and lock it down. So then, like, if you're like independent or a random person who have all this great collection, let's say you try to sell it off yourself and make a lot of money. Well, now they want, you know, they will be the middleman and you won't be able to, you got to sell it directly to them instead of making your own deal or selling it to whoever you want to sell it to. So that's a lot going around right now, which is why there's so much tension. It's also very difficult in hip hop media right now because everybody has already been locked in on a team. Yeah, and if you're not locked in on a team, people try to make your channel obscured or they get attitudes with you. It's because it's like Game of Thrones right now. And if you're not playing for one of the teams that's on the board right now, people are kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that's bad because they need to at least have some people that objectively look at it. To where it's like, okay, all right, this person is giving an objective opinion. We actually can trust their opinion. We don't really have to go over to them and be like, hey, you're on our team. We put our arm around your shoulder. Now do our work. You're our hoe. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not the that's the bad play right now. If they're trying to do that with all the independent media, that's just my opinion. I think that's a bad play because you need people that are neutral. So it's like, okay, all right, this person's neutral. We can at least discuss certain things with them and be like, hey, can you keep this off the record? If you're under somebody's arm and you're always, at their bidding, if something goes left, everybody's going to be looking at them, oh, no, they're on their team. We can't listen to them no more because they're not going to give us the truth,
I mean, it has happened in media, and hip hop is not any more special than any other sectors of, I would say, entertainment or just public coverage. But what I will say, to your point, Filmtown, you are absolutely correct. I mean, at some point in time, people are going to be kind of like trying out, like, let's say if you are in media and you're really tied to one particular artist, set, crew, gang, whatever the case is, people are going to try it out like restaurants. They're going to be at, Fridays and they're going to be at Ruby Tuesdays. They'll go to McDonald's and people just kind of shop around. But what I will say, I do think it's interesting that Larry Jackson does play a role in the dynamics with Drake and Jay-Z with Tidal and iTunes. And again, Sen and I, we talked about that. Like that seemed to have been a fork in the road for their relationship because up until then, Jay and Drake were pretty cool with each other. Features constantly. So it's also interesting that I did see the websites for Larry Jackson. For me personally, the only thing I could take away from it, I didn't see the purpose of his name being out there because his profile is visible, but it's not visible in a celebrity-like sense. So I thought it was a bit.
Yeah, he don't want to be viewed as a celebrity type guy.
I thought it was a bit weird that the websites had his face everywhere, and they were saying Larry Scammer, and I just kind of thought. I did read parts of the article. I just thought the article it felt a little childish.
Now, also, I want to make it clear we're not saying exactly that Rock Nation is behind all of this smear campaign against Larry Jackson. And like Film said, we watched Dirt's video. We thought it was well edited. And we looked at the, Rock Nation's law firm and all that. But we're doing our research and, paying attention to everything as well. So we don't know. But
there are some reoccurring themes, though, that is happening in other spaces, too, within hip-hop. Of course, some of those reoccurring talking points does show up in Dirt's video. But, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I did think when Joe Budden sat down with Larry Jackson, that's for hip-hop. That's where he officially comes on to a lot of people's his profile becomes public to a lot of people. He's been around for a minute, but for a lot of people during 2024, I believe, is when, for a lot of people through the Joe Budden podcast, is when they first see Larry Jackson.
And I also think, Film Time, I don't think any of this is good for hip hop. The fact that hip hop is already it's been cut up in real estate now. So it's been separated into different countries, actually. Yeah. So you have the country of Jay-Z, the country of Kendrick, the country of J. Cole, the country of Drake. And it keeps getting spliced up. And also, it's also what company are you with? Because, if you're not, once again, if you're an independent platform, they're kind of trying to squeeze you out now. And that's why, looking in 2024, the disaster only of it, not the battle part and raps and bars, all that was fun. But the disaster that is taking place right now, and the super fan stuff and the network and complex and all that, is everything is being cut into their different real estate, and it kind of hijacking the regionalism that was always supposed to happen around this time. It was
going to happen naturally.
So naturally, and it's something we talked about even in 2024 and even before 2024. We said soon a lot of the industry people, they're going to lose money in the industry, or many people are going to get fired. They're going to come to the industry, the independent scene, and do hostile takeovers. And this is what's happening right now, where everything is being cut up, and anybody who remains or tries to stay independent, they get their theories stolen from them. People are also trying to recruit. If you don't recruit, then people try to bulldoze over you and all this stuff. So it's very, I would say, it's pretty. It's a hijacking.
Right, it's a Passenger 57 moment, Film Town. I want to hear more of your points, because I'll just tell you this: we had always said that it was naturally going to return back to regionalism. It just does. Music does that in general, especially black-led music, right? But now, in that natural ebb and flow of culture, it's returning to regional sounds. We already said, when I looked at A Futuristic Summer, I highlighted that as look, that's an example. You got New York people sounding like New York MCs again, right? And you got Chicago doing what they do. But now you're seeing figureheads trashing region, saying Atlanta sucks right now, they'll never be back on, or LA is dry right now, or New York ain't coming back. So people also running campaigns on different regions, because Sin stated, this competition in real estate in the media, independent media space, is very high.
And it's what I will say, though, even though Prince and I years ago somewhat knew something along these lines were coming, but it's also very interesting, because when you could see a storm coming, it still is different when you're in the storm.
Guys, they got a gun.
Yeah, right.
They're about to start shooting.
And now that it's the storm, what we said even 8 years ago about, the broke hip hop scene, and then people taking over the independent scene and stuff, and people from the industry and media taking over the hip hop scene and competing with independent people or recruiting independent people. It's to see the storm over your head now. It's wow.
They shooting.
This.
Honestly, right now, it's not even really about the music. It's more about, the online drama, the think pieces, and the Game of Thrones, where it's okay, who's putting out music? What y'all did, I think, last week, when you highlighted the artists, I think before or after the stream, there's no platform that's hey, look, we got this new artist right here, and there's no, basically payola behind them pushing out that artist. So whatever platform is hey, look, we like this artist, we like this song, we'll put it out. Basically the radio pre the 1996 Communications Act, there's really nobody online. Y'all are the ones online that do that I see. To where it's what's going to end up happening with the quote unquote music industry, the music industry is going to get left out on music, and it's going to turn into marketing, branding, promotion, basically what we're seeing right now. And then people are going to wake up and be damn, man, the music industry ain't even really about the music. And they're going to lose people, and people are going to go back to their separate quarters. And it's probably going to go to wherever regions they like, or whatever, whatever genres come out that are new and innovative by the younger artists, or artists that we haven't, artists that have been around for 10, 15 years and have been working on their craft, and then they put something out and it gets viral and it starts circulating online. And then the music industries are going to be froze out, because the other artists are going to already have their own infrastructure. And they're going to be bro, I really don't need you. I've got, my infrastructure. Thanks, but no thanks.
think that's why, to what you said elegantly, that's why, UMG and maybe other labels and platforms are so aggressive right now, because that is the case. And look, yeah, Prince and I are on an island on our own. Like, yeah, there were people from the industry who years ago asked us, to partner up with them with payola to put out artists. But I'm going to say maybe a flaw of Thought Crimes, we're lazy with corruption. It's just not something I want to wake up and do. It's like when I told people, I know if we do the stretchy face reactor stuff, that can help, but I don't feel like doing that. No. So, yeah, to your point, there are people who are now from the industry mimicking also a lot of the independent blueprint and format, So let's say, and not just Thought Crimes, but let's say other independent platform, they'll play somebody organic, not somebody who they got industry relationship with. They like somebody emailed them, the song is hot, they play it, right? Well, yeah. You'll have an industry person mimic that same thing, but the artists that they promote are industry people that they know and mess with directly from the industry. So you see,
but
it's like...
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The audience isn't slow. They're going to figure that out. It's going to be some slow people on the back of the bus, you know what I'm saying, that are going to be like, go along with that, but people are going to figure it out. People are already figuring it out. So I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just, that's what I'm seeing, where it's like people are figuring this out.
No, you're not wrong. But you got to think about this. Is like, it's really like nothing all that new. I give a prime example, even in hip hop, is what happened with Eminem, Benzino, The Source, Double XL, Dr. Dre, and 50 Cent. That's literally what you're seeing right now, just on a much larger scale, because we have the technology of social media specifically, not just the internet, but social media as well. And so people have to understand that when you're talking about how media is being conducted, this has been going on. You got to go back to the days of, even in the South, Jay Prince and the whole Suave House dynamics. And Jay Prince said there can only be one in town. Boys, you're going to have to pack up and leave. So it's not necessarily anything new. Now, to Sin's point, yes, are people trying to be bullies, better yet, but I don't, unless you have very low self-esteem, and this is what Sin and I, we talked about before, it's not really that much of like bullyable spaces online. That's why where she is absolutely 100% on fire at is that this is why you have corporate backers. This is why you're even seeing aspects of the big three boys, because technically they kind of were pushed along through guerrilla marketing in the early blog era. So it only makes sense what they know best. Kendrick doing PG Lane, there's an aspect of independency there, things he may remember from his tenure in his career, how he started. Drake, this whole Gamma situation, and then J. Cole is like, look, I want my masters, I want to be able to own my stuff, do the Dreamville tour, this, that, and the third. So with that being the case, though, corporations want to partner, and then they're going to enforce the standard in that space. But there are some people, like we talked about before, that have been archived in the industry. They're coming out of it, and they feel, I have to bully people that I either like, or I like what they do, or like I'm supposed to be on top of all of this. And the way the social media works, it's just not designed that way. But they do try it through algorithms. This is why they make deals with tech companies.
Yeah, I also would add to what Prince is saying. That's why, like, even, one day, even in 2025, it's like, why would we get into it with other YouTubers because of their opinions on music or
any of these artists?
Yeah. And that's another weird thing that's happening. It's like, when you think about it, and that's why we injected I'm getting the fuck up out of here. When you notice YouTubers fighting about, like, they fighting over Drake or Kendrick and stuff, like, they fighting each other, not just debating or anything. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, this is very disturbing. And I don't remember YouTube and other platforms being like this before, where you gotta not be cool with someone, not because they did something to your family, personally to you, not because something serious happened between you and this other platform. You're like fighting and getting really vicious and nasty because somebody may be pro Drake or anti Drake, or pro Kendrick or anti Kendrick, or pro Jay-Z and anti Jay-Z and Nicki, and so on and so forth. And I personally believe that the audience is the scapegoat, because Prince and I already broke this down before. We believe this weird energy is a psyop coming directly from the industry because people won't lighten up. That's why
they will not lighten up, Film Town.
Yeah, I tell
they
people
won't lighten up. They won't lighten up for shit.
You're not. I say, look, I'm getting out of this fucking weirdo matrix. You're not going to get me to hate a platform based off of their music taste. Like, yeah, I can disagree with them if I think an artist is better or whatnot, but you know, I'm not going to be getting into no ego clashes with other creators or reactors or whoever the hell they are over something as superficial as music taste.
I think the only other space that this was like this, I think, would have been the gender wars. I can't recall anything else as stringent and as restrictive in the Ebb and Floyd conversation outside of this. I would only put right above this the gender wars. That's crazy.
2024. That's true, Prince. Like you can see it after a while. Like, all right, you watch it. Okay, all right, okay, they're making new content or whatever. There comes a point where you realize, oh man, this is all manufactured. This is a play.
Yeah, because what it does. Okay, if you want to be honest, like if you kind of look at this before what went on with 2024 and what we start seeing in 2025, right? People were kind of just talking about all and everything. I mean, Will Smith smacking niggas, like nobody cared. People was just talking about shit, right? Yeah.
And people would agree or disagree on a celebrity, but they wouldn't attack the person's personal character. They'd be like you said, people either was pro Will Smith or pro Chris Rock, but it wasn't like YouTubers getting into it with each other based off of like a celebrity.
It's YouTubers. It's all on X. It's I'm seeing some of it on Instagram. What I am saying though, look how rigid the spaces are. It's almost like prison. It's like the Aryans, the Chicanos, the niggas. Like that's the Kendricks, that's the Drakes, and then those are the Coles. Like it's very. A stranger, and just to say this from time, and I'll let you have your concluding thought here, but the reason why we're saying is like, look at how we had to reintroduce parts of the conversation for the 100 video, absent of whether people are pro Kendrick, pro Drake, or pro Game. We said, oh, well, a component of the 100 video was the Diddy situation, and if you was there in 2015, you do remember that being a talking point because Drake and Diddy got into it in December, I think December 8th of 2014. But, if you kind of play in this game, you're just going to talk about it in a particular context that would work for your team. And it is what it is. That's the game, no pun intended. But, yes, absolutely, Film Town. And, you being out there in Houston, I mean, the independent scene is a bloodline, we talking about the days of Zero, Trader Truth, Corey Moe, UGK out of Port Arthur, Texas, even go all the way up to the Bay with E40 and Too Short early on. So they're trying to prevent people, and we're talking about overlord executives in the industry. They're trying to prevent people from becoming, the E40 of their spaces in media. They're trying to stop folks from being able to develop their own empire because corporations have always stepped on the little man and little woman.
That's why the first caller, she was brilliant when she was on point. They all are backed by white guys, and so like all of this. But also to add to what we're talking about here, the only thing also I don't like independent media, and even if you have picked a side, I don't care, but nobody should feel like their life should be in danger. If they're in media and they like or side with Kendrick or like and side with Drake or Cole or whatever, no one should be doxxed. No one should be like digging up information on each other. No one should be.
Yeah, you didn't pay your phone bill in 2007, nigga. Now what?
Yeah, and I think some of it is not just coming from the fans though. I feel like because some of the people in media actually personally know these celebrities, so they may feel like I may have to be extra aggressive, but yeah, that person, everybody else doesn't. And I just think that energy of that aggression or people feeling like their life may be in danger or they could get killed or something, I think that's very weird.
Go ahead, Film Town. What's your final thoughts too?
Yeah, I'll give my final thoughts. Sincere, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'll apologize. And all it's going to take is one product placement of the shirts that y'all have because they're really dope. And I'm going to try to get one whenever I get paid this next pay period. All it's going to take is one of them shirts getting seen at the right place at the right time with y'all. And then however you want to go is however it's going to work out. But no, thanks for taking my call, man. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Film.
Shouts out to Film, Big Film Town on deck out of the 713. Shouts out to the third coasters out there, Acres Homes. Y'all already know 5th Ward, 3rd Ward. Y'all already know. I didn't track all up through there. But yeah, definitely the independent scene in media is very interesting. And, you know, it is what it is, but it does also blight the conversation because if people aren't playing for their teams or crews or whatever, they may not mention certain things, which the swing voters in the middle will feel some type of way. But it's happening in political media too. You know, there are some people that they're being told to be anti-Trump or be pro-Trump or be, pro-Democrat or just simply anti-Democrat. There's some people that, they're not even into no candidates from the right, but they're just like, I'm anti-Democrat and vice versa. So it's kind of happening. These corporations are doing this in media in general. All right, we got 407 in the building. You're speaking with P Solo and Sin. What's good with you? Good morning.
What's good, Thought Crimez? This is Cal something. How y'all doing this morning?
Cal something in the building. What's
Cal
up?
something is in the building. You already know. Let's go.
Good. I'm blessed. I kind of want to pick up where the first caller came in on the young woman, where she was essentially like, "What is this? What is this all about?" type situation with the back and forth between like K-Dot and Game and everything else like that, and Drake and Jay-Z, and how y'all said it was more so like a real estate thing as opposed to anything else, like not a morality thing, not a cultural thing. I definitely agree, especially with my own experience, like going to like a HBCU and seeing the like frats and everything. Like the frats can throw their parties. Mm-hmm. And everybody's cool with it and everything else like that. But you get like a random nigga just doing something. It's like they'll be going against each other, beefing over parties, but they'll both look at the independent person and be like, "No, we're not letting that happen. Let's double up and get this nigga out of here." We're not just letting
Cal something. That is a beautiful point. That is a beautiful point. You got to state that again, man. You talked about being locked out concerning the frat gang. That ain't no joke. Independent can't set up no party around the frat niggas.
No, I make a great and Kyle, what you're even talking about with that type of energy, because I think people don't understand that. Yes, hip hop and rap has always been competitive, but we're talking about hip hop media. You have a few hip hop media people being beef with each other, okay, but overall, like, we can't lie. Before 2024, again, you weren't having hip hop media people just all being this aggressive and clingy and fighting. It did not exist. Rappers being sensitive always existed. We know y'all get it popping. Someone stepped on my shoes. Someone fucked my girl.
I was the first nigga that wear leather coats in hip hop.
Some nigga got the deal you wanted. We get that this is the temperament of rappers, but this being now the temperament bleeding into people in media to this type of frequency was not a thing.
Kyle, something you gotta expound on that with your personal experience with frat niggas knocking over the independent niggas' tables when they was trying to set up the parties.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there's a certain, in any space that you go in, like going to HBCU, me like being in corporate, my wife being in corporate as well. Like there are certain things as to where like established entities in and of themselves understand that, yes, although they are in the quote unquote free market, they're still monopolies, like competing against each other. When you have that weird anomaly situation kind of pop up, the establishment will always come together to get that out the way so that they can still compete for their own respective real estate. Like you can't, people they don't like that. And if you think that I'm lying about like, oh, the HBCU thing, okay, cool. You see it in hip hop, cool. You don't like it. Look at politics. Look at how they just easily, the Republicans and Democrats, like established the Democrats are both against like the Mamdani situation, right? I'm not saying that nigga Jesus. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not that. But they were both equally like, no, we need to get that out of here. And then he got through. And then you see now they're both frantically trying to figure out how to pivot and how to move and stop special runoffs and things like that, because it's an entity that they're like, they see that they can't control, and they don't know where it's going to go because of how in support the people are of that. So like back to the HBCU thing, Like, shout out to the Divine Nine and everything else like that. But they have their own things, so where they have their like, this is when my organization has our party. This is when y'all can have your party. This is when y'all can have your party. And people would go because that was like, you know, biggest show in town type deal, depending on where you are in the country. But when you have like an independent person who's able to just like a random Saturday pop up, they got a DJ, they got a location, and then a random artist. I'm from Florida, so like a random like, oh, Plies might be there. Oh, Boosie might be there. Oh, Rick Ross might be there. Waka Flocka, because I went to college in the 2010s type deal. So like when you have that possibility, that's a disruptor, because it's like, okay, well, why am I gonna like spend all this money going to y'all stuff, the Qs or the Alphas or the Kappas or the Iotas or the Zetas, the Deltas, why am I gonna do all that when I can just go to the crib down the street where somebody just might pop up and do something dope, and it's just a snapshot of a dope moment. That's when you start to be like, hey, you start to see people move in a different way to be like, okay, we got to get that out of here. Like, we can't just let that happen.
No, that is a fantastic point. Look, man, Cal, something I got to give you that one on that one. That is a dope point, because yes, it's HBCUs, and I have firsthand witness, quote unquote, the steppers, the brothers, and
what, you got hazed?
No, I mean, there was a situation where I am not going in that room, all right? But there was a situation where even like I was approached by some brothers. They had their stuff together, but I just told them, I was like, oh no, I'm good. You know, I just want to get my stuff and get on up off this campus. But you know, a couple of the buddies kind of had an attitude, so they were kind of showing up in different parts of the campuses. Like at the campus, and kind of like rolling their eyes at me, you know, in my head. I'm like, yeah, this, I know we're not serious, but I can't imagine. I have heard people try to set up independent functions, parties. I was going to try to link with a dude that he was trying to do some T-shirts, and somebody backdoored it to the dean where he couldn't do it, but then they got to set their shit up.
Damn,
because
you got sabotaged.
Yes.
Damn, Prince.
Yes, black niggas, like, you know, and then, that's what I said. You know, we hollering all this other crack and shit, but I mean, the niggas be cutting up too.
But also to touch on Kyle's other point, they're testing Memdani right now, though. DSS is still, they're getting their haze moment. It's going to be through Hakeem Jeffries now.
Yes.
So far,
faint punching.
A lot of the people who are really for socialism and the people for Palestine and stuff, they're very mad at a lot of the DSA candidates, because it's like, why are y'all for Hakeem Jeffrey? He was in the Epstein files. He's for Israel. Yeah. And they're upset right now, but a lot of them are capitulating, like Williams, and possibly Mamdani may even, you know, push for Hakeem Jeffrey as well. You also see AOC, and they're mad because they don't realize, like, this is technically an initiation for DSA.
What did I tell you?
If all the DSA candidates still preach what they're preaching, but they push for Hakeem Jeffrey, they're saying, look, we're a part of the order. We're a little bit more zany to the status quo, fair, whatever. We're going to give people some of the things they want, but we still have to kiss the ring, and we still have to make sure Hakeem Jeffrey is the one.
Yeah, and you know, I told you, and that's going to happen, like, if you're there, like Sin stated, and you know this, Cal, something from your background and experience with fraternities, y'all all, when you in the system, even if you make it in and you start off independent, at some point the industry is going to have a hazing session for you and your company.
You got to fight people you even
for sure.
you get along with them.
Sure. And they'll definitely try and test to see how not only how formidable you are, but where you'll make concessions. And with the Hakeem Jeffries thing, I hate that Splenda Obama ass nigga. I can't stand Hakeem. That nigga is, oh my God. But I won't harp on that, but definitely, you will be tested. You will be tested, and I think that this is a positive pain point for them, because they can at least show themselves to at least be able to double down on their own belief system. and actually show that they're actually more so committed to the people than getting in positions as to where they have, I guess, like employment for the foreseeable future. Because like it's really hard to like get out people who are already established in the position. So without harping too much, because I felt myself getting angry when I mentioned that nigga's name.
It's okay. That's respectable. If that happens, you know, it take a moment. And sometimes you got to write on paper, you know what, why am I angry at this nigga?
Yeah, no. Prince, Prince Anson, I am not one of those people who is like, oh, one of the worst things you could be is a hater. No. I'm a strategic hater. I know exactly why I don't like that. I've done my research. I will triple that. But in regards to the Kendrick and Game thing, I think Baby Boy as a movie is fantastic when you're able to analyze that first part, like when Tyree's in the womb and they have the whole monologue situation that happens. And they're talking about like men in their second childhood, essentially. I think that personifies Game perfectly.
It's crazy you brought that up, Cal, because he mentioned that in one of the mixtapes with DJ Drama that he did recently, and I think he tried to flip it. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not trying to start trouble. If it's not the case, it's not the case. But when he mentioned the Baby Boy film, it seemed like he was trying to flip it on Kendrick or somebody else.
With Game, but go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Cal. Did you hear it? Did you hear like the mixtapes he dropped where he mentioned like Tyrese in that movie, and he mentioned somebody else was that character, and he said it wasn't him or something? But go ahead.
Yeah, I've heard snippets, because I used to be I used to listen to him heavy, like super heavy, and then as time kind of went on, and he didn't progress, like he didn't actually progress like as an elder statesman. We're not saying Jay-Z's perfect, but like I like seeing men get older in hip hop and get like their material grows with them, and Game just kind of like stops. So I've seen like bars, but like I really just stopped listening to him, honestly. But that might have been a Freudian slip, honestly, because it's like that name dropping shock jock type of let me do the wildest shit possible to get a response out of people. It's like, okay, yeah, but like respectfully, like nigga, you're old in regards to the game, like not in real life, just how NBA players are old in the game, but they're not old in real life. LeBron's not old. You see what I'm saying? But like, as an NBA player, he is old.
Yes.
So it's like I don't know. It seems as though he's still trying to chase that thing where Pac and Cube were when they were younger in their career and his career, but he's much older than they were when he was doing it.
They talk about that. Well, I think Game is. There's an adage, and shouts out to 504 Scoob, says my man said he's a strategic hater. Yeah, that is funny.
Actually, that could be branded into a T-shirt, yeah, Kyle. You might want to take that idea.
You might want to hit the fraternal brothers. Hey, guys, I got an idea. But look, just to say this, Cal, something. I think Game is a very interesting specimen in this dynamic, because here you have someone that really was like, you know, remember he gets shot because he was a dope boy. He started off as a dope boy because he wanted to go to he wanted to try to get to the NBA. He wanted to play college ball. I think he said something happened where he fucked up, or there was a scholarship, something got snatched away from him. So he ends up, 100% of the time he moving dope with his brother, Big Face 100, allegedly, right? And then, he gets robbed, shot 5 times. He was in a coma. Then, he had to still make things popping, but he was still in the streets at the time. I think Kendrick, just to say the dynamics between the two, I do think how they express themselves could speak to the degree of the trauma too, right? Because
don't they both have great trauma though?
Yeah, it's not about either or. I'm just saying about how
you mean how individuals respond individually to
right?
Something?
Yeah,
okay.
because Kendrick's he did talk about getting jumped. He talked about running with his homeboys. He even talks about it on Good Kid, Mad City. Breaking in homes, things like that. Which at the very mild level, that's if you just don't want to do nothing else, you'll break in niggas' homes and steal their shit and then sell the shit on the streets. You get what I'm saying? But
Right.
even with that level of trauma that Kendrick was dealing with, he did say he had a lot of bad reactive PTSD, which he does address on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers with Father Time. But the other side of it is that, to your point, Cal, something, I think maybe people might have been looking for that for Game somewhere. I think we get moments of that. Like when Game was on The Doctor's Advocate and he did the song One Night, I actually think The Doctor's Advocate is probably the most vulnerable we've heard from the Game on any album. I just think, to your point, some of the antics, the things that go on, it just happens. But like I said before, like Sid and I said, they all got antics in the industry. And remember with Baby Boy, Tupac was originally supposed to play Baby Boy,
Exactly.
and at the beginning,
Exactly.
Tyrese's character, Jody, is reciting, or he's paraphrasing Francis Cress Welsing's writings about black men being caught in a constant cycle of second childhood nature because of being addressed as the boy or a boy by a system, quote unquote, of white supremacy, but then also they themselves not graduating beyond a level of trauma that keeps them stuck in perpetual boyhood.
But what do y'all think though? Like, I feel like in hip hop is split. Like when you brought up Ice Cube, Jay-Z, Nas, but there's still a lot of guys who are about antics and who have regrets who still be talked about. Like even Snoop Dogg when he got into this weird thing with that girl Powwow, whatever her name is,
Selena
Powell. Or even like there be some guys who be like 60 years old and they be like a pimp, yeah baby, and all that. And so hip hop has a split where we do have men in hip hop who become like that more mature elder type of energy, like when we were talking about Nas, right? But then there's Rakim, especially Rakim, right? Absolutely. But then you have other I would say there's 50% equally like dudes who are that age that be still doing all that other stuff who are still popular and recognized in hip hop in a cultural way.
I think that's Hollywood shit though. I want to hear. Go ahead, Cal. I just think it's Hollywood shit. I don't think it's just exclusive to hip hop though. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree, Prince, completely. Especially when, because through my lens, how I view it, I think a lot of individuals who are older and have matured and everything else like that, they typically stepped away. So it's like the niggas who like were in the streets to make enough money to get out of their living situation. Like they don't come back often. You see what I'm saying? And I think a lot of the older men who like matured and realized like, damn, like I'm really doing harm. Like I'm really messing this thing up. Like they left. Like once they got to a certain plateau. And that's where I always think that it's funny, like, because the South's digestion of hip hop is much different from up north. Like we don't have a lot of really big time, even battle rappers, because some of the niggas don't play like that. You start talking about niggas' mamas and everything else like that. Oh, a fight's gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? You start talking about, oh, somebody's dead, so and so. Oh, something's gonna happen. And I even think in mainstream hip hop, oftentimes like men get into it. They get their entrepreneurial, like they chip their teeth in the entrepreneurial bag and everything else like that, find a way to make some money and then get out and leave. But I think that there are men, like I forgot who said it in the chat, they said like the Game is essentially like the West Coast's Jim Jones. And it's like, yeah, like that nigga just wants to be young forever. That's some Peter Pan ass shit. And in hip hop, that's celebrated, that's rewarded with virality. Sometimes you can get endorsements and things like that. Depending on what pops up and what level of debauchery you're comfortable with, there will always be a bag for you, like steak, like kick, things like that. What's the other one? Poly Market, Cow Sheet, all these other things. Like if you can be as rich as you want to be, depending on how low your morals are. And that's why I think you see a lot of older niggas in hip hop stay in hip hop and only just they never really break into elder statesmanship properly. Like even Rick Ross's stuff, like Rick Ross, for instance, like I was just talking to my wife about this the other day, to where I was like, his album could have sold much better if he actually knew how to do the job of what an A&R is supposed to do. Like knowing where to go for press runs, knowing not to get drunk and talk about Drake for some reason. Like actually being mature and self-confident.
Some people got mad at us for saying that. I said you can't blame every fucking thing on Drake. We were interested in Rick Ross' album, but every interview, okay, I turned to Joe Budden, you're talking about Drake. I turned to this PMD conservative platform, you're talking about Drake. And you, who's supposed to be an elder, I thought like, okay, you did what you did in 2024. You said it's over. You moved on. And I thought that Rick Ross, for the age that he was in, you know, to your point, like when you talk about the game and Rick Ross stuff, I just thought that, you know, Rick Ross was going to talk about the music more than the Drake thing. And even trolling Drake about his views or claiming that the album didn't do well, even though technically it did. Like he opened himself up for
this level of criticism,
for a level of a fan base who don't even understand his work. Prince and I, you know that Rick Ross was never like a big seller like that. It was more so, yes, he did lifestyle rap and all that, you know, hood, but with some elements of maturity and fine wine, dinery, right, with some hot chicken wings, and then his music would be like the accessory to that. But because he decided like to talk about Drake all day, it put him into a algorithm that now you're being talked about with people who focuses on views because you injected yourself into that instead of, like you said, he's supposed to stay with his it factor, with his core fan base. And the core fan base that he comes from, they like when he collaborates with Drake, but they're not interested in seeing him talk about Drake all day on platforms.
I think also I think Rick kind of closed his lane up a little more than he thought, because I'm not going to lie to you, Cal, everywhere I heard Rick Ross being played, I hear Drake records being played too. You know, and I do think when people make, even people that run platforms, I think folks have to understand, like when you out of ego, you like, I want to lash across this person's back or these people's back publicly that they do their own stuff because I'm ego tripping somewhere. Because most of the time it's ego tripping. Niggas really don't know each other on the internet. You just wanted to do that because it's something that day you was fucked up about something. I don't know. Maybe you should have took some tongue cat Ali or some shit. All right. But what, to your point, hip hop in general, it never thinks about mortality in the healthy sense. What you got to understand, like the preeminent forefathers, because we don't even renovate, or we don't even venerate Rakim. We don't venerate Daddy Kane. We don't venerate the men that have successfully moved into elderhood. Now they're the old sages now.
Because Rakim doesn't.
Big Daddy Kane, BDK.
He's not money first.
Well, he's not also.
He's not like Russell Simmons when they were praising him before the fall and all that.
Well, even with that though, the people that are elevated above them are men that were struggling with boyhood and manhood. Tupac.
And Rakim and those older gentlemen to your point, Prince, they aren't fighting. Like people like Rakim aren't fighting for our attention in this attention economy.
Because they had more of a fixed identity. So like Tupac, when he dies in this split identity, right? And then remember, you become a martyr now. So now the next generation is going to emulate some aspect of your fractured identity. Although Tupac had real stuff going on in the background, even as John Potash pointed out, the government as well.
Yeah, he had a lot of stress.
There was a lot of stress for somebody at 25. He actually started balding like at 21.
Yeah, because people forget, going back to what Cal and y'all talked about being forced, because people wanted him on different labels, and when he was in prison, all that, he had a lot of stress because like a lot of the gangsters in the in the music industry wasn't going to leave him alone anyway. They just felt like he's a great
extortion,
prospect.
extortion. Yeah.
And it's like, we're going to keep harassing you unless you choose somebody of equal power that we're not a part of, or you come over here. It worked the same way, though, with 50 Cent. 50 Cent, when people tell him his story, they forget that even though he kept fighting back against the gangsters in New York City, he still wouldn't have made it unless he went to another power source, which he did.
Interscope.
Out there on the West Coast.
Yeah, so just to say this to your point, like, I think, and this is one thing I said before, yo, this is the first time in hip-hop, after Jay-Z, we've had this many rappers at 40 years old with this level of prominence. You guys got to remember 15 years ago, the running joke is a rap nigga only had 3 to 5 years at most. Remember, if you go back to 50 Cent's run, his real run was like a very strong 3-4 years. So I think it's an uncharted territory to your point about, Baby Boy. How these men looking at manhood, what do they know what to do with themselves at 40 years old with all of these resources? And they didn't get trapped in the matrix like the souls of Tupac, Big L, because, and in the other side of it, some of the stars that was coming in behind them, they had unfortunate events. Extentacion, Juice WRLD, Vaughn, Dolph, Nipsey. So
what's the guy out there in Dallas?
Oh, Mo 3. Yeah. Yeah. So like
Nipsey Hussle, what happened to him?
Yeah, like the reason why I said it now, we say like there's a bit of fattening of the hogs here, because it used to be Jay-Z. Remember, Game even used to diss Jay-Z. You still rapping that 38, right? And Game is 46 with visibility that somebody at 30 in 1999 couldn't really have. So even though Game, people say, nigga, you fell off, but technically for a 46-year-old nigga, he's still very visible. You're doing great compared to the history of hip-hop. So I just think to some degree, because there's a lot of dark industry greed in the backdrop, a lot of artists are encouraged to really push the bullshit. Even though overall, this class of success is literally unmatched.
Well, one last thing I'll say before I let Kyle finish off.
Yeah,
I would say that this is a very dangerous situation if it gets serious, because y'all are in your 40s and up.
40s.
Y'all like I think 38 all the way to 60. So if
these niggas don't need to stretch no more. These niggas don't need to stretch no more.
If anything happens bad in a negative way with Drake and Jay-Z and The Game and Kendrick, this will actually be one of the most embarrassing things in hip-hop history, because at least with Biggie and Tupac, they were 25. Still, I get they still an adult.
25.
But that's still a pretty young age. Even when you're talking about all these other guys who have died mostly young, most of the time. Yeah. And then if an older person have died, like Jam Master Jay, like it's on some weird thing that took place, Yeah. But if all these people wrapped up in this and something very negative happens to any of these guys in this storyline, it would be so embarrassing, because it's like, to the first caller's point, she's like, what's the point? I get that this is a real estate corporate competition going on, but still, like, y'all can't just go your own ways. But then to me, like, even asking that question, I know is a naive question to ask, because if you read the Robert Barons, when you're talking about even the industrial age, they too, grown ass men in their 40s and shit, they didn't give a fuck. They didn't care who lives they destroyed. They didn't, as long as the money, other companies collapsing. So when you think of the bigger picture of it, like when you and Prince was talking about, like, this isn't just in the hip hop space, and you go look at corporate sabotage and all that, you can ask the same question with the white guys, the Arabs, the Jews, and all of them. You can ask all the guys in their 50s, 40s stuff.
Why y'all fucking around?
Like, why do you have to go to this extreme when it comes to real estate?
Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, old, y'all. That's an old guy. He's older, and look how he's like, ready to get out there. But that's all I wanted to say, Cal. I want to hear what you guys say, because I don't recall at any point in time a class of 40-year-old rappers this level of success, with this level of success, Drake, Kendrick, and even Cole. But go ahead, Cal, something.
Not at all. Not at all. What I will say is Like I do wanna. I love what y'all do. Obviously, been with y'all for years. And I do eventually want to get into like doing video essays and everything else like that. But even what you said earlier, like a little bit before Sin started speaking, Prince, where you were talking about like, yeah, the joke used to be like, as a rapper, you got like roughly like 3 to 5 years. Like, I don't think people understand the societal implications when it comes to something like that, because that's the same way that they view running backs in the NFL. And historically speaking, the running back position has been occupied typically by like extremely like hyper athletic black men. Period, point blank. The contracts reflected that as well, like as a sign of the times. Like you would get paid really good for that time when they thought you were quote unquote in your prime, and then after that they were trying to give you slave deals for real. And that's what it looks like as a rapper. Like typically it's inverted, because you come in, you sign a terrible deal, lose your masters out the gate for a couple of years and everything else like that. But they didn't expect you to be alive. I think it's Empire Records, to where they got like damn near 12 dead niggas.
You know what, Cal?
They still own the masters to it.
Cal, and you know what that it just is, and those are fantastic. And you know what that comes from? I hate to do it, y'all. That comes from slavery. Most slaves that were building things, or were told to build things in this country, they were young boys. So they would say, this buck here, I think he got a good about 3, 4, 5 years on him. So get him now while you got, this is a strong buck here. You can keep him going all day, and we're going to bring a few of the winches with him. And so that is even like for younger black guys, I've seen, firsthand growing up, people like, they made it to 21, they made it to 22, or they felt like, because also how the rap has been marketed to young black men as well, young black women too. But if I'm talking about just in the dynamics of when we're saying the baby boy syndrome, there's a baby girl syndrome too, but the baby boy syndrome, where you look at somebody and you think, if I don't have $1 million by 23, I'm a failure. Or if I ain't got this, that, and third, but this whole 3 to 5 year body count on black male bodies in sports, because they do it in the NBA, they do it in the NFL, but they do it in rap. And I said, if you go back and read the slave journals, that's the same lingo they use for young black bucks.
Now they do that the most to black men. But that's always been their MO though. Like even before we go to the Atlantic slave trade, you go to different parts of the world, they always used young people for labor, and in particular young men. Yeah. That's why even when the Atlantic slave trade, like what you and Cal said, what happened to black men, but then even when the Industrial Revolution happened, you got kids in there in the chimney,
coal mines,
But now the difference in the Western world, though, is because you had so many different groups of people, and people don't give black Americans enough credit for this, because a lot of us was being woke for a very long time, trying to help everybody funky ass, right? But anyway, you had a lot of black people, saying treat everybody well, and you had people, different demographics, saying we shouldn't have children in chimneys getting lung cancer and stuff like that. So it changed, but around every continent has used child labor, which is why,
and still,
if you look at what y'all point is, even when we're talking about hyper-capitalism, the default of hyper-capitalism is of the old world. It's exploitation. The default is even exploitation of young men's physical body. And again, it's on steroids when it comes to black men, because they get away with it so easily. Of course, if you look at the market, we know that they exploit young men in general, especially with the manosphere, people getting look smacks and dumb shit like that. So they gonna look for a sucker anytime. And unfortunately, because the old world is based off of exploitation of children as well, even in the new world, they don't care. Like, remember when they were selling them cigarettes, the colorful ones, or like, to kids too.
Oh yeah, the bubble gum. They do. Saying you right about that. Look, it happens again. Look at the streamers. some of the streamers are locked into bad contract deals, and they catch. How many streamers have y'all seen that have been young men and they cannot read?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, to your point, and to Sin's point with what you were saying about exploitation of young men, like I think that when you're looking at certain individuals in the game, like in hip hop, I don't even think these niggas thought they were going to live past 25. That's on their front. And then once they get past it, it's like, oh, I beat the game. And they don't know who they are as men at that point. And then the white, like, label owners, the white billionaires, so on and so forth, the indiscriminate of industry, they're looking at black men like, oh, we didn't expect y'all to make it past 25. And part of them is in fear of what happens, like post 25, in regards to like black men awakening and becoming more adept when it comes to traversing this plane and how to deal with people. So they're trying different layers of exploitation. So you essentially have like the black man on one side who is operating in this level of like, I guess, survivor's remorse, and then like acting that out in the most irresponsible way possible. And then like the billionaires, the white guys over here who are actively in the business of exploitation, commodifying that, like platforming these people to be like, look at him, he's still going. Like I rocked with the verses and everything with Game and YG and everything else like that. But I'm looking at it like when what was it, Don Julio, where he just chugged that thing of Don Julio on stage, threw up the gang shit, and I'm like, damn, this nigga like damn near old as my dad.
Yeah, well, and to Sin's point too, where we both agree on, social media is a part of the child slave labor exploitation. There's a strong dynamic and a component there, because even though pertaining to these rappers, because all of them, you know, are men, black men or half black men. So, you know, nobody's identified as a trans woman. So they're all men, right? But the reason why I say I think there's an Edward Enigma component here, because like, what does a rapper do at 40 now? You know, and your career had not tapered off like the game. You know, Kendrick still has a vast amount of influence. Drake has a huge amount of influence. Cole has a huge amount of influence, you know, and the industry does have a sickness where, no, nigga, you were supposed to be dead, or at least one of you all are supposed to be dead. So the idea that even if y'all don't fuck with each other, but the coexistence is happening, because coexistence could also indicate a potential of a reunion, an apology, or partnerships that could take place. You know, Kobe Bryant said when he looked at LeBron James, and LeBron James has his criticism with the player mobility situation. He started that culture. But Kobe did say, basically, I should have teamed up with T-Mac. Because how we were groomed, I never thought of T-Mac as a teammate versus me just simply, I need to beat him, you know. And Jamie Foxx told Meek Mill, he said, you know what, looking at what some of y'all are doing on the internet now, he said we should have did that. So that is something, even though you can have your criticisms for all of these guys, that is something overall that Sin and I always keep in mind, that this is good for business, because, you know, why would we want them to just coexist where partnerships could happen, or something could take place where it could work against what we're looking to do?
Yeah, that I would say that's why divergent thinking is very important, and that's why they need men. Though women can be problematic too, but at least at the base is more a harmony when it's about working together. Because this is something I've been, even for years, doing this. I be talking to Prince. I'm like, why do they decide to always do it this way? And not just even black men in hip hop. I'm just talking about men in general. Like, why do they always decide to do it this way, where it could be enough resources for everyone? Like, and also competition doesn't have to be baked in something so nefarious and evil. Like when Bill Gates is talking about depopulation and sticking shit in people's ass and all that, you know? Yeah, it's like you're doing it, and you're doing all this evil shit just because technically it's not needed. There's so many people in the world who have came up with technology, for example, for free energy and clean energy. And, some of these scientists have ended up dead mysteriously. So there is this hyper competitiveness that it goes on the in the path of being like a psychopath, because it's not like clean competition where it's like, look, I'm competing against you. Made the best man win. Oh, okay, you won. Cool. Maybe like we can learn from each other and all this other stuff. It's like a lot of times, because people always put this on black men, and it's beyond just black men.
Yeah.
A lot of time, even in the white male space, Jewish space, all of them, it be very deadly games.
Well, because
like Sam Altman, what allegedly he did to that Indian boy, allegedly.
Yeah, well,
allegedly,
because it's the nature of man, and I will say this, and I'll let you do your thing with your concluding thoughts, man. Here's the thing about Kendrick, Drake, and Cole. And Sin was playing a video of a lady, and she said, imagine if Kendrick, Drake, and Cole on the same record, and they had went on tour with each other and possibly even do the Super Bowl together, something crazy like that, right? The crazy part, in either world, it would have been an exciting moment, but like we say in competition in business, especially with the corporations, what are y'all doing? What are y'all niggas doing talking to each other? You get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Because how they tell little boys, it's 5 of y'all, it's a gang. What y'all doing over here? It could be the only 2 niggas on the job congregating with each other. Supervisor, hey, by the way, you guys should get back to work. It's time for us to get back to work. All right? So, yeah, absolutely. But tell me, you can have your concluding thoughts, too, by the way.
So I guess in conclusion, my thing would just be to implore black men to be better if you are in these spaces, because TC, I know y'all got like a lot of people that be listening to y'all. Like you said, Prince, on burner accounts and everything else like that. Like just be better. Like some of you niggas need to go to therapy. Some of you niggas need to go out of the country for a year and a half. Some of you niggas need to put your phone down or like get away. But it's okay to just heal. And not in a way that's like, oh, I'm healing to be better than somebody else or to get a leg up on anybody else, but just heal for the sake of yourself. And if not for yourself, for your fans, if not for your fans, for your family, and if not for anybody else, for the young kid who's looking up to you to possibly like try and get to where you're at. Because I think, Jay-Z said it where he was like, there's a kid like eating cereal right now or like doing something like that in regards to like some like a cereal or whatever who's like writing rhymes trying to get better than me. He said that years ago. And like that's what it is. Like Prince, you said the nature of man, like the nature of men also is like trying to succeed beyond your predecessors. So although you can make history, you will always also be a part of history. Someone is going to come behind you at some point. And if not surpass you, at least rival what you were at your greatest. So at least give them a good model to go against. That's all I got to say.
All right.
Y'all be good. Y'all be blessed. I appreciate y'all. I'll be listening in the chat.
Thank you, Cal.
Yeah, shouts out to Cal. Fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful calls, too, by the way.
Every call was great.
We'll give y'all a round of applause on that one.
Broadcast. Okay, let me not exaggerate, but we had a broadcast about Taylor Farms.
Yes.
And we told y'all they were lying to y'all and the U.S. government when they said that Taylor Farms was not the issue.
Ooh,
well,
lying again.
BBC News World today. Taylor Farms recalls jalapeno products after an outbreak. Salmonella.
Salmonella?
Yes.
Salmonella. Yeah. Oh, this beautiful call. Yes. Thank you, Cal. Something fantastic dissertation at the end.
Yes,
I absolutely
did a great job, Cal.
We agree with you 100%. Go ahead, Sam.
So, we will be putting this on the Patreon as well. That the Taylor Farms, because y'all know we're big on recalls. I don't want y'all getting sick. I don't want nobody getting sick. Prince and I don't have the mindset of Bill Gates and the rest of them. They think killing people in their audience and killing
more space for me in Africa. That's how they did some crazy shit.
Killing their supporters. I don't know what these fucking crazy nuts think, but I believe in you supposed to preserve people who support you, not try to kill them.
Rule number 1, preservation of life.
So every time a recall happens, we try our best to let our audience know about it. So Jalapenos, guys, is being recalled. Oh my goodness. And not just that. Let's see. We got salsa.
They had one where they said it was salmonella.
Guacamole. Oh my goodness.
They had one where they said it was salmonella and garlic powder. I got to find that one and put that up. I had saved it. I was supposed to post it.
Also, we will have a PDF for this, but also remember when it comes to cinnamon, try not to get cheap cinnamon. Some of it is lead. Okay? Don't fuck up your kidneys. Don't fuck up your liver.
There's some of it is very hard on your kidneys.
So, oh my goodness. We're going to be putting this on there. I'm really tired of this. And also, this is why I said I try my best not to ridicule people, even the people who I don't like based off health and stuff like that. Because you see, even when people are trying to be healthy, they still try to kill you. You try to eat lettuce. You trying to eat jalapenos. You trying to like stay healthy and all that. You trying to eat, put some cinnamon and all this. And yet, even the things that's supposed to be healthy are being mismanaged. Bad soil, bad pesticides. I posted on our Patreon a coffee brand that's not sponsoring us. They're not sponsoring us, Heirloom, where they said they create their coffee without any pesticides. They don't have any harsh chemicals, and they grow the coffee beans correctly. Yes, and no mold.
A lot of coffee beans, a lot of coffee, and some of y'all favorites have mold
in it.
Yes.
And then also a good with an E at the end, GOODE. They have canned goods that are supposed to be 100% healthy, and again, not sponsored by them. There's certain things that I like that I'm like, I'm not saying that shit unless we get a sponsorship. But when it comes to health and wellness, I do not care. Y'all need to get this information as soon as fucking possible, because I don't want people getting sick. And also on top of that, we put on our Patreon days ago that Taylor Farms they have been alleged of using prison labor for their products.
Worse and worse.
I know it keeps getting worse and worse. And remember, the Trump administration tried to cover for them. Remember a couple days ago?
They didn't do it.
I'm sorry.
They didn't do it.
Trump administration ain't shit, but
I know. But
y'all remember?
It's okay.
Everybody
dies.
A week ago, the Trump administration said, "No, Taylor Farms, we made a mistake." They said the FDA and all that.
It was Taylor Brooks.
They said, a mistake was made, guys. Taylor Farms is perfectly fine. Go eat their salads. My goodness.
Well, you guys, make sure y'all take it easy. You're probably gonna have to every so often look at like recall lists, see if anything. Because you have this admin in office now. These are people that are going to be circumventing and laying off basically people that are going to be handling the quality control for your all food. And I'm telling you, as someone as a teenager, I've worked in the food manufacturing plant. It's not as safe as you think it is.
No,
okay,
there's a lot of mistakes that are made.
Yeah, and I
even like you and I mean, I don't know. Did you work at a kosher, or was yours a regular industry beef packing place?
It was a regular industry beef packing place.
I did the regular one, and I did the kosher.
Look at you. You was really getting some money. Listen to Sin. I was making more money than you, nigga. Kosher.
I was
You was doing quality. You was QC.
I was doing quality control.
Of course, yeah, I knew that. When you first told me, I knew you was. I said when you say you worked in the meat plant, I said you probably did QC.
Of course, you think I'm doing other stuff? Yeah. But the
they
guys,
had me on the kill floor.
The men that were on the kill floor and stuff, they always used to do this hand move to me.
Hey man, they were making money.
They would say They would say to me, "Easy money." I said, "Look, Pedro,
you should have doxed him. Mark your whole line
and Tyrone, what you're doing is harder. Yes, okay.
They said boule sin.
But I have to stand on my feet too. I have to stand on my feet too.
No, that is true. You standing
for a
all
long
day.
time, and
everybody's standing in the warehouse.
And I can't mess up because people could get
It'll come back to you.
an E. coli outbreak or something. Because you also have U.S. USDA workers.
USDA.
That be supervising and stuff as well. But the guys on the kill floor all the time, they will do their hand gestures like easy money.
Muy fácil.
Right.
Dinero. Muy fácil.
But kosher, they slit the cow's throat.
Oh yeah. So they didn't do the gun.
No. And the cow bleeds out upside down before it dies. And then with regular.
Oh yeah, they put their head. Yeah, they shoot them.
That bullet gun.
Yeah.
Now the thing though that's crazy.
You can actually see the cows. For you guys that don't know, that you can actually see the cows like they have tears in their eyes.
There was one guy who got hired recently, and he was using the bullet gun and he was using it wrong. Mm-hmm. So the cows weren't even dead all the way, and they had to stop the production line.
I've seen that.
Yes, I've seen that. But
I've seen once the people got into the workroom, how many times they got called a dumbass.
Yeah, but it was like, I was also when I was analyzing being there, I was like, how can all these men be so horny with dead cows and blood everywhere?
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious.
What you talking about? At the end of the day, the men move around.
How are these men and women sleeping with each other at the job? And we're talking about
warehouse sex.
But you're dealing with...
That's where they are 12 hours a day.
Yeah, but you're dealing with blood. You're dealing with also cow poop. Mm-hmm. You're dealing with...
Listen, that's why you was in quality control, though. It's for the classier people.
You're dealing with also the fact that there could be an outbreak. So you have to also be careful. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't get it. When guys be flirting and stuff, I'm like, what are you flirting for? This is it's cow dung and stuff. What are you doing?
Well,
Get back to work.
Whether it was bread, meat packing plants, vegetable packing plants, man, I didn't see some men mess up a marriage, after they didn't see the new trainee in her new jeans and that smock on the floor. Hey, man, what do you think about that, man? You seen all the new hires? Let's get back to work.
Also, Dizzle, no, you're not supposed to eat meat with stressed out animals because it
releases
hormone and certain chemicals get increased.
Yeah, a lot of y'all...
So if the cow or chicken or any animal is stressed and it's not comfortable before it's killed, then...
That's a screenshot.
That's not good.
That's a snapshot of the hormones that's going to be in the meat.
Because then you're taking it into your body.
Yeah, no, I've seen that. Pigs. Listen, when I got around people and they was like, an animal has no soul. I said, that's not what I see on the kill floor. It look like they're going to a real live execution.
I'm going to be honest. People just say that so they can feel comfortable in killing the animal. Animals
Shut up, boy. This animal ain't had no soul. Now eat your burger.
Animals do have emotional feelings. And when cows or any animal realize that they may die, they are scared.
Yeah, so
that's not true.
I've seen it with the pigs.
Animals have emotions as well.
Yeah, I've seen it when they put down the pigs. Even when they have the pigs going up, I watched it when they were going up the belt and they had to close their little bodies up there. The pig can see what the hell is going on 2 pigs ahead of him.
And just like most humans.
You get what I'm saying?
Just like most humans, most animals don't want to die. So
no,
it's
crazy. They little floppy ears. They ain't think they was gonna die. I'm just being real with y'all. I know folks. Look, I didn't see it. Man, them cows got tears coming out their eyes and everything. But I've seen some heartless bastards on the floor. So I've seen that too. But yeah, I don't believe that one. I know even before working there, you could clearly see animals have souls now. Come on now. But if you want to do that to eat that Whataburger, it's cool.
But they're supposed to do things in a humane manner when dealing with.
I think that way with the throat situation is it's less stressful.
You think kosher it is? I don't know because getting your throat.
It depends on what it is.
Slit and being upside down bleeding. I don't see how either one is better.
I'm just saying it's better than hearing that loud banging and all that stuff. That's pretty rough. If some of them try to jump off the track.
At that little gun thing, if it works, if the person's doing it correctly, unlike a dumbass who was at the other job not doing it correctly.
Probably looking at warehouse.
But it's supposed to be
That's probably why you fucked up that gun. Looking at warehouse ass. Get back to work.
If the gun, it's supposed to be faster, so it's supposed to be instantly they die. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why we're talking about this.
Damn, Thought Crimez. How we get to this Dr. Doolittle shit? Y'all like two Dr. Doohickey niggas.
No, I mean,
bunch of hippies.
I don't think I could do that job again now, though.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when I've gotten even deeper into my spiritual studies.
Yeah, that is true.
I just wouldn't feel like looking at the cow face and all that.
Well, you know, when you need money, you know what I'm saying? At the time, you know, that's what people do. You know, they get around. Now, I have seen some psychopaths on that gun. I'm like, yo, y'all might want to take him off because that guy kind of crazy. He's like, yeah, I can't wait to do it. You get what I'm saying? I knew one guy, he was a vato. He said, yeah, man, I can't wait to get in there. I said, all right, brother.
But I will say, I
can't wait.
But what's so weird though, out of all the jobs that I did, I'm like, why? Okay, for guys, why would you be the horniest at a place again?
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Filled with blood and all this other stuff and animal parts. It just was bizarre. Versus other jobs where office jobs, for example, of course, still inappropriate because you can get hit with like sexual harassment, so you still gotta be careful. But at least with office jobs, like I kind of understand it. You're bored. You're typing at the desk. People don't have nothing to do. They are flirting, whatever. But the meat packing places, I'm like, y'all are wild and bold to be doing all that here.
Can I be real with you saying? There's a lot of guys coping with their time because they really don't want to be at that fucking meat house. So like while they're there, they're like, I might as well take my mind off of it.
But a hook may hit you in the head. Like you dealing with dangerous machinery and stuff like that. It's not like, you know, you're drinking a water cooler, you know.
Depending on like what part of the belt are they on too.
See, no,
you know, now for me, I just went in there to get my money. It says I skipped the powder and grinding from home and feel better. Yes. I saw the Odyssey and seems pretty pertinent to the conversation. Okay, all right. Well, shout out to you, Victory Status. We appreciate you so much. Plants also get stretched. Yes, that is true.
Yes, that is true. You have to treat plants with kindness too before you can.
You can feel the life
herbs and stuff. Anything you consume and ingest in your body, whether you're eating meat or plants, has to be dealt with care.
Yeah, you better put some respect on George Washington Carver's name. All right.
Yes.
Better put some respect on him.
He even if you
they telling you out here all day.
They
giving George Washington more.
Carver in his writings, what was so cool about him, he felt that he could communicate with plants.
And he could. He was a Jedi. It's a real life one. He told me George Washington, he snatching slave teeth out of their mouth.
People forget about the mysticism part that he talked about, which I thought
George Washington Carver
was super cool. Even
he was a mystic.
He had over 1,000 products.
Yeah.
And also, even when I was reading his book about him connecting to the plants on a spiritual level and being able to communicate with them.
You know how many industries?
I just thought that was so cool.
You know how many industries that man saved?
He saved a lot of industries.
All right. So, shouts out to Victory Status. We appreciate you so much. Absolutely. But yeah, that's usually what I saw saying, you know, whether it was a meat plant or another plant. Guys really, and some of the ladies too, because people the women, they in there too playing around. People be on the floor just like, well, I might as well look at who's pretty, who's hot, or who's handsome. That's what they're saying.
I'm just saying, when you're at a job that's dangerous, you
now
what if you slip some blood and hit your head?
I agree with you, especially when I had to sometimes operate because I switched off. So when I'm walking around with that hook from I Know What You Did Last Summer,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not looking at no ass.
Those hooks be swinging.
Yeah, I'm walking around with that hook from I Know What You Did Last Summer. I had to grab that meat and chunk that shit over into the box.
The kill floor, and when I was on what's the other one? The fat. What was the other one? The cold one. What's they call it? Fab.
Oh, you talking about where they're freezing it?
Yeah, with the freezer part. They had a name for it, but
right.
When I was I'm not playing no games. Don't flirt with me, no nothing. I'm not having no accidents happen. And I'm not getting in trouble.
Usually when you pair up with like a really older person on the floor, they really just about their money. You know, and if somebody knew that came on and they were unfocused, they'll tap, get them off my line. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we covered the Jay-Z dynamic sin, did we? That was it? We had anything else to say on that one? You know, he's supposed to be he's supposed to be going to London on Beyonce's birthday, I believe.
Oh, he's supposed to drop an album. He Rock Nation on NFR podcast claimed that the album isn't done. Okay. So the album isn't done yet, allegedly. So there you have it. That's it, guys. We was on here pretty long today.
Yeah, usually sometimes that happens with Mondays.
We're supposed to be just staying but I will give this for my. But we're supposed to be like keeping it at least till 10 a.m.
It says Black says y'all talking about stuff no rapper understands. Almost none of them ever did a day of hard work in their lives. Ooh, Black McBain, always the black consciousness we need.
I'm telling the truth. That is the truth.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them do tell you like I never worked a day in my life.
The only thing I do miss the hard hat and like walking around, and like writing, like what making sure. Okay, let me see.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Look, because you have the little clipboard.
Ay, chica, negrita.
I said no negrita. Don't get
negrita, chica. Ooh.
Watch your mouth.
Azulka.
Okay, let me see. Okay, you're good. You're good. Okay, you're good to go.
Ooh, chica, yeah. Guantanamera.
I did remember one of the guys. He was like trying to hit my arm up. He was like, "Hey, like black women." I said, "Get off my line."
No. There's certain jobs.
Get off my line.
There's certain jobs you can't play with people.
No.
There was one time.
Yeah.
Not at the kosher place, but at the other meat place, I had a stalker that I didn't know about, and he was like a guy. I think he was in his 50s or something like that. I didn't even know. I don't even know how he got my number. It was the most. I think it probably was the grossest thing I've ever had with interaction I had with another man ever in my life. So he sent me a photo of his bad built body, where he was naked and his penis looked mutilated to me. It was disgusting looking.
Damn, Sid, it's so early. I'm still eating. I got a second bowl of cereal.
He texted me. This person I don't even know. I didn't even know what department he was in. Never talked to him. And then he texted me, talk about shattering you know what. Which was gross.
I know.
The back end.
I know. See,
so I went straight to HR. I was like, look, I don't know who this Pedro Mexican, whatever the fuck this guy is, but he's talking, it sounds like he's talking about sexual assault to me. And I said, y'all need to find who the fuck this is and and not only fire him, but fucking arrest him. Okay? Because I'm not getting kidnapped and thrown in no fucking van.
Sid said, hey, Coach Doc said, it is early.
I'm just saying.
I just got a third bowl of cereal. Damn.
Luckily, they were like, well, because he texted you during the job, he's going to get fired. And then the cops came and all that. But I was like, wait a minute. Even though I don't know this guy and he works at the job, if he would have texted me this weirdo shit at home, y'all would have gave him a fucking pass?
Hey, man.
Are you fucking crazy?
Well, just know that you had evidence. It's good. You had evidence.
Luckily, though,
you had evidence.
I made good friends and people who would have fucking killed the guy. Yeah. But still, nonetheless, what if like a woman's there and she don't have no allies or nothing? Y'all were just gonna let bad built, ugly ass sexually assault somebody?
I get it, Sid, but luckily you're not that woman. So.
It was gross.
Yeah, they have stalkers. That's another thing too, man. So y'all gotta be careful on the jobs, ladies. Y'all gotta be careful on the job. There's some people that following people to their car. Like Homeboy said in Players Club.
He's eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Now I just got another bowl. I gotta pull it out. I was trying to wait till she was done talking, but now my cereal's soggy. Damn. Why'd y'all leave?
I mean, think about how gross it was for me to experience it. Like, the dude looked like a demonic cartel pusher. I didn't know what the fuck or who the fuck he was. I was like,
be careful.
I'm like,
be careful.
First of all, I don't know who he was, but I wasn't going to end up 6 feet under. If something happened to somebody, it ain't going to be me. So he got removed, and also because I had built up good relationships with people at the job, one person was threatening to kill him. But anyway, I was like,
that's how it is.
He had to. Let's just say this. To make a long story short, he had to leave the state.
Yeah, hey man, if you dealing in HR on the job, hey, you gotta hear some of the stuff women have to walk into the office to tell you what happened. You like, they said what? And they were like, no, and I know, I just don't want no trouble. I said, no trouble. We actually had to call the police.
I'm with you. Listen,
what
ladies.
you mean no trouble? Well, I just wanted to, it documented. No, you gotta stay here. We have to call the police.
No, I don't believe in that start no trouble shit. If somebody threatening to sexually assault you or kill you.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Somebody flirting, whatever. Okay, move. I don't want no drama. All right, let's move on. But no, somebody threatening to physical harm or sexually assault women. Don't be no punk ass. No, fire this. He did this at the job. Get rid of him. Bye bye. Yeah, cops there. Good.
Yeah, it's like some brothers, man. They be like, yo, man, what you think I should do, man? Old buddy down there, I said, what'd he say? Man, he keeps some in the trunk. I said, yeah, I heard him talk about that. Yeah, but we kind of got to an argument. I'm like, what happened? He said he was going to blow my brains out, bro. What you think? I said, nigga, you better walk up to HR and report that fucking criminal. Nigga, you at a call center. What you talking about popping trunks at the call center? If we at the club, yeah, but nigga, go up there and make that shit snitch central. Tell on that nigga. Like, get out of here.
No,
nigga.
That's what, you
tell on that nigga.
Yeah, I agree. You're in a structure.
He went in there and told on him, though. I said, bro, go tell on that nigga. Talking about he got a lot of nerve. You had a damn AT&T call center, and he talking about popping trunks.
Also, there was another story, though, that was very funny. Because, okay, especially when I was in my early 20s, I was a very compassionate person. So this was this older woman. I don't know if she was from Honduras or whatever, and I was at the job. And she was like, oh, Sin, my husband, he's hurt and harmed. He's making deported, please. And can you help me? And I was like, what? I was like, okay. I mean, what do you need? You need some help? She's like, yeah, I need $400. I'm not somebody who's obsessed with money, so I don't care. I was like, I can make
$400 gonna buy a pardon.
I can make more money. I said, okay, fine. Yeah, sure, $400. Kid you not, somebody later at the job was like, did she pay you, she said she don't give you the money. Did she give back the money? I was like, no, she's so far been late, but I'm not really pressed about it. And then somebody at the job was like, I think she's scamming. I was like, wow, really? And it's like, yeah. So I was like, talk to the friend who had, some weight there, and they got the money back for me immediately. But I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Damn, try to turn me into a sucker.
Yeah, because you come to me on the job.
I try to be more careful with people who I help because, a lot of people be coming with, sad stories and be fucking lying.
Coming to me about that on the job, you getting a suspension. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Yeah, I told my partner.
I still thought it was funny though. Yeah. I just laughed at it when the
Yeah.
person got my money. I was like, thank you. I just thought it was funny. Like she came to me like, oh, you know what? She was talking to me like that woman who was the manager for Selena.
Oh wow.
And she looked like her too.
A mushroom with a wig.
Yes. She's like,
Can't trust her.
send, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because, I ain't gonna lie. Shit, man. You got to be careful. Like, I told Buddy, I said, hey, did he threaten you in front of people? He was like, yeah. He was like, but bro, I ain't trying to make no trouble. I said, dog, he castrating you. You don't have him tell you in front of some girls that about a snack machine that don't work that he gonna pop the trunk on you and then he gonna walk out of there like he the alpha nigga at Club Tourette's. I said, go tell him that nigga. You want me to be a witness? I don't like that nigga anyway. Right? So he told on him the nigga got fired because the other people got called in. I said, you don't do that shit, nigga. Like, if you out in the streets and you popping trunks, that's different. But you don't wait for no self-respecting person to check in on their job to do that. You got to tell on them, right? So sometimes on the jobs, and Lucky was sitting right there, somebody was going to take her in the back and smash their hands on that with the hammer.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. That guy, he was one of the ugliest men I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
He looked like a serial killer.
That's why he was doing that. He was doing
And
serial killer antics.
He had strong bags under his eyes. His eyes was a little bit reddish.
He was dealing with Violator from Spawn.
Pretty much. But he looked to be, from the photo, like maybe he was like around 5'7", 5'8". But the grossest thing was his penis. It was just so ugly looking. It's disgusting. I actually almost vomit.
Come on, Sid, damn!
This is gross looking.
I'm eating Apple Jacks.
Yeah, you know, there's some silly stories at the jobs, though. Y'all know how they get down, and hats off to everybody that has to deal with nonsense. But there's all types of scam and game and everything. People coming to you a day after payday, yo, man, you think you can help me? You should probably, you know, this, that, and third. And then if you can't, now they start in trouble with you at the job. So you do got to create boundaries, though, like you said, Sin. You definitely got to create boundaries in them spaces. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that will be it. That is all. And B-More and Sin have had their recent episode of Astro Talk, Astrology Talk on the esoteric tier. It is now. The audio has been up there. The video has been uploaded directly to Patreon.
About the 11th house and also Chiron, we will be having a part 2 to Make a Wish as well.
All right, that it, Sin. Now Prince knows what those strange drawings are in Sin's notebooks. Now, Sin, she don't play about that type of stuff. I think it's inappropriate. But I have worked with people in HR, and I have seen women come in with crazy stories, one after the other, about somebody doing some crazy shit like that. And I remember asking the lady in HR, I said, yo, how often do you see it? She said, I at least get 7 of them a day. You know, at the very least, of people being very inappropriate with women. Now, when guys walk in there, I got to talk to you. Yo, if they don't get this nigga, I might lose my job because I ain't got the time. I got children and my girl is not playing, right? I'll see brothers come in if they feel like there's violence that possibly could happen at the job and they're really not trying to go there.
Well, that's why, like, people don't be taking women serious. But I'm like, if you hear a victim, male or female, say something, at least most of the time, just hear it out. Whether you believe it or not, just wait. Because, damn, bro didn't even go to prison. He just got kicked out of the state.
You know, and you can't do that.
He got kicked out of the state. He didn't go to prison.
Yeah, that's actually sexual assault. You can't do that. Because niggas, if you do it, you know, and you, even if it's an ex and you do something like that and she goes to the police station, they're coming to pick you up. They're coming to pick you up. You don't get to go to another state and apply again.
Police and the system is trash when it comes to that. It's cherry picks.
Oh, yeah.
So some people go to prison for 1 year. Some people go to prison for 5 years.
It's bingo.
Some people don't go to prison at all.
It's like a lottery.
You know. And that's why, like, people are, you know, they be trying to. Either way, though, I would have killed him anyway. I would have killed him. I would have shot him. I don't care. You're not touching me with a dirty dick. You getting killed.
So that was pretty disgusting, though.
It was.
It's a pretty bad story. But I'm glad you got out of it.
I'm glad I survived, yes.
And I'm glad you had reinforcement.
I'm glad I had that, too, yes.
All right? Because sometimes you guys got to understand it's very important to have that street muscle. All right? So that part I do not believe in. Man, I can't tell how many times somebody that was inappropriate, that did some things in the neighborhood, especially on the west side of Atlanta, and you come outside. You like, damn, Cedric getting his teeth beat in with a pistol. What happened? And they're like, nah, bro, leave it alone. Wop, wop, wop. I'm like, damn, that's what happened? Well, beat his ass some more. So y'all know what time it is. But yes, that will be it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and or girls. All right, folks, we have fun with you all today. We did cover the dynamics that have been going on with the game and Kendrick Lamar. The game will be outside. It looks like there's going to be a lot of haywire energy going on later on in this year. And then, of course, Drake with his team of streamers in the Dracosphere. They're letting Jay-Z be known publicly. The jig is up. And what was it? The Rock Nation subpoenas, that joke that he cracked. And he talked about his pen game being sharp. And he had on also the Canadian tuxedo, similar to what Kendrick was trolling with at the Grammys as well. Again, whether the guys are going to say something to each other or not, I'm sure there's still going to be subs.
We'll see what happened in
But
October.
Yeah, and then you said on the Patreon we'll further discuss.
We'll further discuss more theories and stuff like that exclusively on the Patreon. But we'll see what happens in October. You know, hopefully this goes back into fluff zone. Maybe the more serious stuff dies down, but probably not going to happen. That's probably not going to happen, but we'll see.
The lightest is going to get is these cartoon characters in front of y'all.
Yes,
right.
And don't forget about. I forgot. Let me tell y'all the characters real quick that we're gonna be doing. Oh, I did. I told them already.
Yeah, you already told me.
I told you at the beginning of the show. All right, guys.
And you did these here, right? You did
let me see. Oh, okay.
Your notes.
Yeah, my notes. Yeah, I mentioned already. Mac Wop talking about Romel. He will be out in L.A.
Yeah. Okay. Shouts out to Kendrick, Mac Wop, and Romel, the little kid that got his arms mauled.
Yep, by a dog.
Yeah, that's
beautiful
unfortunate.
Thing.
Blessing here.
On the Patreon, it's public for the GoFundMe.
Right.
You know, make sure y'all click it on and check it out. I saw it on X. Moni shared it on the link. Mm-hmm. Also, G Malone talked about the game being jealous of Kendrick Lamar. That is going to be dissected on our Patreon exclusively. Also, we're going to be talking about Dirt's video on Rock Nation and the law firm. What's taking place there with the documentary he did. I already shared the FBA petition, and I also shared already the petition to revoke Stacey Turner's medical license because they believe that she's been doing foul things pertaining to black bodies and not doing her job correctly. Also support Billion with the recount out there in Cali, and also support Brandy Kane as well with the work that they do. And also, Dwan B had a documentary on Miles Davis. Y'all may check that out on Miles. He did a series on that as well. So y'all make sure y'all go check that out. Also Dime a Dozen. He has an album out.
Shouts out to Dime a Dozen on that one too.
Very dope album. And we're going to eventually get to a review on that as well.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Also with the, it looks like Game's Bodyguard had responded to Glasses Malone. He made a post on IG Stories. And he I guess he had the clip where Glasses was saying Game is jealous of Kendrick, and then the next sequence in the stories was that I think he said something to the effect of not to make anyone angry, but Game is back in the studio now. So
that means the Game is probably gonna. Well, I mean, look, think
he's gonna be throwing some shots at Glasses.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. Just before we close out. Thought Crimez, we may not know the inner workings of all these people because we're not from the industry. But, if people are being non-biased in hip-hop media, we've been fucking right about 90% of the time with a lot of this stuff. And the Game whole story arc, we've been accurate about. And then also, Prince J said it earlier that Malone knew, but he just didn't want to say it because he probably was trying to see if other things can happen, which I believe.
I actually believe that.
Yeah.
Well, we said that. What did we say that in 2024? That at the very least, Glasses will be playing the consigliere, trying to make sure it doesn't spill over into nothing else.
Right, but now it seemed like it's going to be spilling, and the Game is probably going to be having some diss songs for G Malone and for Kendrick and some other people as well. Hell, he may even diss Jay-Z. You never know.
You never know.
So,
never know. We'll see.
We'll pay attention to this. If
not encouraging, but observing.
Not encouraging, but observing. Yes, no more encouraging after the things we saw. So,
when it was just on the bars, when the two men, Drake and Kendrick, were respectfully about to get in that studio and light up on each other, that's as far as the encouragement went for us. But outside of that, I'm just observing. But we are telling you all, we'll have some more breakdowns on the Patreon as well. So y'all can get over there and have a chance to check that out. Ladies and gentlemen, again, if you want to, you can, hop on any tier, and then you'll get the notifications too. So, we've seen some people, they've coasted on the free tier, and then a story comes down, something we're about to cover, they jump onto like the $5 tier and up, and then they go all the way up to the the esoteric tiers where we do different types of breakdowns, even including films. We're going to be doing some film reviews coming up pretty soon too.
And also the money that y'all put into the Patreon, it don't go nowhere. Y'all going to get some fire content and creative stuff, but also, we do spend a lot for all this beautiful production that y'all see most of the time. But not only that, we do also do a lot of community stuff as well. We don't be stingy with the money. We do like to support, reparation causes and things for the black community, things for even what's happening in Gaza and so on and so forth. So, that's why
Thought Crimez
we like
exposed.
to support, the petitions and all that stuff too.
Yes.
We don't keep talking about, we're not going to talk about the things we do behind the scenes because I don't care about that. But, when people have some good petitions and GoFundMes and stuff, no matter what, we like to push it for y'all to support, and we'll support as well. So on that note, everyone,
Tell the truth, Sin. Tell the truth. Thought Crimez spend the money on collecting MC Hammer memorabilia.
We spend it on Pokemon cards. All right, we love y'all. Peace.
Y'all take care.
Thought Crimez. Thought Crimez. Thought Crimez.
Right.
Sensational.
Come on, man.
Thought Crimez. Thought Crimez. Thought Crimez. Thought Crimez.
We are all the same. We are all the same. More group
Coming through your airwaves. All right, now I'm here to kick the ballistics. Check out Thought Crimez. Are you following me? Coming through your airwaves. Coming through your airways. You ain't gonna get me with that one.